On Thursday night, the Birds banged out 15 hits to win the opener in this four-game series. Then last night, it was a burst of production from the bottom of the lineup that was the difference in the game. Tonight, the Birds take on Matt Latos, who's allowed just 2 runs in its first 4 starts. Game 3 of the four-game series, O's and Sox, up next on Massive. It's the Orioles on Masson at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The Birds welcome in the Chicago White Sox. Tonight it's Game 3 in this 4-game weekend series. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hunter. The Orioles made it back-to-back wins over the White Sox in this series, winning it last night. They came on late, and they got that always sought-after combination of outstanding pitching and clutch hitting. However, the difference in the game really was the fielding. The White Sox made a couple of errors, leading to a couple of unearned runs, but the Orioles' defense was stellar, and it was the difference in the game. Let's go to the top of the second. The White Sox already lead 1-0. There's a man at third and 2 outs, and Deanna Navarro shaves off his bat. Mike Wright gets a big out. Then in the fourth, after a leadoff single, Todd Frazier, the cleanup hitter, hits it to Hardy to scope back to first. Now, initially, Frazier called safe at first, but Buck Showalter would challenge after seeing that angle, and the umpires reversed the call, so a double play, 2 outs and nobody on. And then the play of the night, top of the 6th, the O's are leading 3-2. Cabrera lines out to Jones, who fires to the plate, a bounce to Wieters, the tag on Jimmy Rollins, and the runner out at the plate. So the Orioles at that point hold their lead at 3-2. The White Sox would tie it, but then Reimel with a 3-run home run, and the Orioles go on to win it by the final of 6-3. And Jim Palmer, the one thing about defense and with this organization, maybe you don't hit that night, maybe you don't pitch that night, but the defense is always there.
Well, yeah, you go back to 2014, set the all-time record for least amount of errors in a year. Last year, 77, that led the American League. This year, they have 9 errors. Kansas City, who has been in the World Series, they're the world champs. They have 8, so nobody other than them better than the Orioles. I thought it speaks volumes. Mike Wright is a young pitcher. He pitched pretty well last night. Certainly gave them a chance to win. He said, why wouldn't I pitch to contact? Even though he had great stuff, we have one of the best defenses in baseball. And they showed that last night, and they did the little things. That's something that you usually see the Orioles do. They turn the double plays. The White Sox didn't.
Yeah, and tonight the Orioles looking for a win to assure a series win. We're coming back to Camden Yards. Lineups and first pitch are next. Orioles baseball on MASN is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by T-Mobile. Get Major League coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. Well, it's another cool overcast night downtown. Here's our BGE home game time temperature of 59 degrees. BGE Home is Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? Just a slight breeze and that humidity up there at 60%. Here's the White Sox lineup tonight. A little different look. Eaton, Saladino, and Abreu with Frazier in the cleanup spot. Melky Cabrera in that number 5 spot. Switch hitter right in the middle. 9 multi-hit games on the year. Laurie, Sands, Navarro, and Austin Jackson for Chicago.
And that lineup will face Kevin Gausman coming off his first start of the year. Shoulder problems, cortisone shot in spring training, so taking it very slowly. It was a good one. He ends up losing because normally they don't score him a lot of runs. Game down in Tampa Bay against Chris Archer was no exception. So he pitches well, good breaking ball. You know, in the high 90s. Actually, the gun had him in Tampa Bay at the Trop at 100 miles per hour. You can see righties and lefties not hitting him particularly well, and just a tick above 50-50 ground ball fly balls. Kept the ball in the ballpark.
Well, this is a big game for the Orioles. They'd love to get this win to be assured of the series win with the ace of the White Sox on the mound tomorrow, Chris Sale. And Kevin Gausman looking for his first win of the year. Was a first-round pick back in 2012, number 4 overall, and then made his big league debut the following year in 2013. Well, not quite as cold or damp as it was last night, but still not what you would expect as we're about to turn the page to May tomorrow. And here is Adam Eaton hitting at an even 300. Orioles play tight on Adam Eaton because he has 8 infield hits already, which is more than any hitter in the major leagues. You see Machado pinching and Davis pinching on the corners.
Well, that's part of the plan. If you don't play in, you'll get the infield hits and then also the ability to bunt. See what kind of strike zone we have with Carlos Torres. Haven't seen a lot of him. That ball kind of around the corner. And that one way outside. So the White Sox, they came in here on a roll, 6 in a row, 8 out of 9, and you can see Adam Eaton, boy, he can spray the ball. So certainly up the middle hitter.
And there's a 4-pitch walk to begin the game. So Eaton with speed down the first.
Didn't want to do it, but he did. Kim, Jones, and Trumbo. Joey Rickard had started all 22 of the games for the Orioles. That's the outfield. Machado, Hardy, Scope, and Davis. Matt Wieters, first time back-to-back starts. So he'll be behind the plate for the Orioles.
Tyler Saladino getting a start at shortstop tonight. Jimmy Rollins taking the night off, at least early on. And there's a strike. Carlos Torres is one of the young umpires who's working in because of the replay. They have umpires go to New York City, so they have to be replaced on the cruise. So the minor league umpires getting a look. And Carlos is one of those, so it's a nice opportunity for him. Throw to first to Chase Eaton.
He doesn't run a lot, but he's certainly capable. 18 out of 26, so 18 successful, 8 caught last year. You know, and Saladino, certainly if you're Robin Ventura managing the White Sox, you know, the option to try to hit the ball into right field, get that first and third.
And on the corner for a strike. So after 4 in a row out of the strike zone, he's 0-2 on Saladino. Perfect pitch on the outside.
And again, it tails back. He throws a lot of two-seam fastballs, and they'll move left to right. In other words, they'll run into the righties, and then they'll run away from the lefties. And then in Tampa Bay, probably the best breaking ball I've seen him have.
And a little bit low.
Yeah, he was kind of his description of his first start. He said, I was pretty pumped up, and the velocity showed that. First start of the year.
Dave Wallace said before the game he was hoping that Kevin would be able to contain those emotions with the excitement of finally getting on the field after beginning the year on the disabled list.
Well, he did a really good job. I mean, he pitched well. He just got out pitched. Chris Archer came into that game. I mean, here, you know, Gausman came into his first start. Chris Archer, and one of the better right-handers of baseball, was 0-4. Latos tonight is 4-0. So he's had kind of both ends of the spectrum as far as who he's pitching against.
1-2 on Saladino. Hit towards Manny. That's a fair ball. He'll go to second. Out there. Back to first. And a double play. Nicely turned. 5-4-3. And even with the slight bobble, Machado still able to get it to Smoke.
Well, one of the reasons is Saladino doesn't get out of the box because he got jammed. But you have to. You're going to probably get Eaton because he doesn't want the ball caught in the air. So he's probably taking an extra step to make sure the ball is not in the air. And then all of a sudden, again, you get ahead, 2 strikes. I mean, there's the jam shot. Look how long it took him to get out of the box. And then Schoop has one of the strongest arms. You're not going to outrun that arm. Boy, you better come out of the box very quickly against this infield.
And the velocity that Manny had getting to Schoop to begin that 5-4-3, pretty amazing considering the ball popped in the air and he had to grab it.
Well, he is Manny Machado.
Yes, he is. Yes. So 2 down, and the leadoff walker raced. Here's Jose Abreu. Lined right at Chris Davis, and the White Sox are done here in the first. So Abreu's been making a living in right field in this series, denied. Sox go down, no score. Here come the Birds in the bottom of the first. Vietnam veterans here tonight, and a large contingent of our heroes from the Vietnam War are here. The Orioles, nice gesture here tonight, and they were all involved in a nice pregame ceremony. So tonight the Orioles and Sox, it's game 3 in this 4-game series. Here's the Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Machado, Jones, and Davis with Trumbo in the cleanup spot. Wieters catching. Pedro Alvarez DHs tonight. J.J. Hardy brings a 4-game hitting streak into the game here tonight. Then Schoop and Kim.
Yeah, Matt Latos, and you look at the mix. Fastball, it's not overpowering, 90 to 92. Breaking ball, couple of curve balls. Really good change split, and that's a kind of a strikeout ground ball pitch. Look at these extraordinary numbers. 4-0, and again, only 13 hits. Not a lot of strikeouts. Obviously 50, almost 50-50, and it doesn't really matter if you're right-handed or left-handed. He gets you out this year.
Manny first ball swinging to second. Brett Laurie plays the hop, and on 1 pitch, 1 away in the Oriole first.
Take a look at their defense. Cabrera, Jackson, and Eaton. That's what we've seen every night. Frazier, Saladino takes over for Jimmy Rollins. Laurie with a big error last night. Abreu over at first, and then the second straight night for Diana Navarro, who is doing the catching, and he has caught all of the starts of Matt Latos and has done a terrific job. So they're kind of a tandem now. Well, that was pretty simple. A little cut fastball at 91, a little bit of movement. Manny chases it. Nice routine ground ball. And there's another one, 88. He's big and he throws the ball downhill, and that gives you a distinct advantage. He comes in lifetime at 68 and 55 with an ERA of 3.48. Those are good numbers.
And a foul. How good of a start is Latos off to? How about these numbers, Jim? Lowest ERA first 4 starts in a White Sox career.
And he was out there. I mean, obviously not household names. Tom Bradley, of course, he was pitching when I was pitching. And I know you probably, Jack LeMahieu, I saw briefly. I know you probably thought I was playing back in 1917, but I wasn't. Seems like it.
I honestly was not thinking that.
So again, 2 different curveballs, the split changeup, throws a lot of strikes, makes you put it in contact. 5th start, only threw 1 home run through the first 4. Keeps it in the park.
Upstairs 2-2. Now, what I want to know is how is a pitcher who last year was 4-10, an ERA approaching 5, and was in 3 different organizations, how is that inconsistent pitcher now this dominant, consistent pitcher? As Adam lines at the center field for a 1-out single.
Well, first of all, he's healthy. And the other thing, he's not hanging curveballs. That curveball stayed up, and Adam doesn't miss it. So he's made a lot of good pitches. You know, I started with Miami last year, as you mentioned, 4-7. Take a look. I mean, it's a curveball, and it stays pretty much in the middle of the plate and waffled up the middle. One thing about Adam with the little rib injury, he is thinking more up the middle, probably not swinging as hard, not chasing as much. And I would imagine, where his batting average is, came in at 206, which is extremely low, missed 6-7 days, that is going to get up there because of his approach.
Yeah, he had 6 games without an at bat in that stretch, just a couple of 9th inning defensive replacement appearances. Chris Davis bunts against the shift. Latos over, bobbles, throws, got it. Chris couldn't push it far enough. Latos able to make a play, so 2 men down with Jones at second.
Well, it's a great approach. Now, that's the positive part of it. But if you're Matt Latos, you're going, well, okay, I just got last year's home run king 3 years ago, 53 home runs to try to bunt. And I understand it. And if it works, it's great. It's one of those plays. But as it turns out, you get a guy in scoring position. You do give them an out, and Mark Trumbo's been hot. Maybe, just maybe, against a guy that doesn't give up a lot of runs, it's the right strategy.
And I don't believe they gave him a sacrifice because he was clearly bunting for a base hit. So that'll be 1-3 on the putout. So the Orioles still remain the only team in the major leagues without a sack on the year.
Well, you get the same result.
Right.
I mean, even though it cost Chris Davis an at bat.
Mark Trumbo has batted .361 at Camden Yards for the season. And a bloop to right field. That might fall. That is in there for a base hit. And here comes Jones towards the plate, and he will score. Trumbo going to second. The bounce throw. Out at second base is Trumbo. But the run does count as Adam Jones got in. So Trumbo comes through with a big 2-out base hit. And the Orioles, on a couple of singles and a bunt, get the early lead. For Trumbo, his 19th RBI of the year.
Well, again, Eaton makes a good throw, and Navarro makes a good throw, and he's out. Nicely done by the White Sox. So it gets them out of the inning, but the Orioles do get that first run.
1-0 O's. We'll head to the second. Don't miss the next Kids Run the Bases event. As you know, every Sun game this year, all the kids 14 and under can run the bases at Oriole Park following the game. So why not make every Sunday family day and come on out and enjoy a great afternoon of baseball, then cap it off. Your kids will have the thrill of a lifetime running the bases here at Oriole Park. For your tickets, Orioles.com or call 888-848-BIRD. Trumbo with the RBI single. Got in the rundown to make sure Jones would score. He did. And Trumbo out at second base, and Gausman misses high to Frazier.
Well, it's worth a chance. It took perfect execution for Navarro make the perfect throw. Otherwise, you have another runner in scoring position.
Breaking ball in there.
Well, I saw Kevin. I said they're going to get you 4 runs, and you're going to pitch well, and you're going to win. And that doesn't seem like a lot of runs, but last year they got 2.88 for him, which was the lowest in the American League.
Well, the 4 runs, I like how you're thinking, because when the Orioles have scored 4 runs this year, they're 11-1.
He said, I'm not going to give up 4 runs. And I said, no, I said, they're going to get you 4 runs.
Wait a minute.
I think I got him going a little bit. No, I didn't. Ooh.
Sounded like he broke his bat. Now, wait a minute. You're a Hall of Fame pitcher. And the rule is you do not talk to the starting pitcher on the day he starts.
Please.
You broke the rule.
I did.
Who made up the rule, by the way?
So when I started by saying, Kevin, good luck tonight. Have a good time. I was wrong.
That's
too.
it. That's it. You've already broken the rule. You're supposed to pretend they're invisible. That's what I was told. And a pop foul. Can't get around on the fastball.
Yeah, so 93 in the first inning. We've seen 95, 99. That's kind of getting back to where he was in Tampa Bay. And I'm not putting, I mean, he could pitch very well in the mid-90s. It was so, they had 3 or 4 pitches at 100 miles per hour. You don't see that very often.
And it's effortless.
Yeah, it really is.
He told me something really interesting, and it just shows you how closely they are monitored, the pitchers, by Dave Wallace and Dom Chidi. When he had his warm-up before it started in Tampa, and they were walking in to the dugout, Kevin said to Dave, what do you think? As we get the 1-2 here, and another foul ball. And Dave Wallace said to him, well, all you're doing is throwing. I'm hoping you're going to start to pitch. And that's walking into the dugout to begin the start. And Kevin said he thought about that all 5 innings on the mound. Make sure you don't throw. Make sure you pitch.
Well, he usually does a pretty good job, but that was his first start of the year. And like he said, the adrenaline was coursing through his body. And
Frazier battling here. Kevin threw 9 pitches in the first inning. This will be the 9th pitch in this at-bat. And a weak ground ball to second. Schoop gets Frazier and 1 away. Let's get a look at our Jeep Inside the Numbers, Jim. The Orioles starters over the last 5 games beginning to turn it around. This is the last time through the rotation, including Gausman joining.
Yeah, and they settled down. They're pitching on more of a regular turn. Mike Wright, who pitched well last night, even Tyler Wilson, they're getting their regular turns every 5th day, or maybe you get a rain out the 6th day. I mean, Mike Wright's first start this year up in Boston was 15 days off. Now, it doesn't mean he didn't do some throwing and whatever. So you're getting into a rhythm. In most cases, maybe not last night, but tonight it's the weather's pretty good. Tampa was great.
Strike 1 to Melky Cabrera.
Kansas City, but how was the weather in Kansas City?
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And then quickly ahead 0-2. The first 4 hitters in the Sox lineup, Eaton, Saladino, Abreu, and Frazier, were each seeing Gausman for the first time. Cabrera, who's batting 5th, is 2 for 5 against Kevin. Melky's been with the Blue Jays and the White Sox in the American League, and a swing and a miss. Foul tip held by Wieters.
Well, you want to get your pitches more in control as far as the amount you throw, and he finally got Frazier out because he made a pitch down in the zone. This is 4 pitches to strike out Cabrera because this is the perfect pitch down and away. You know, Cabrera's trying to cover that outside corner. He can't take the borderline pitch. He doesn't know what kind of strike zone Carlos Torres. Probably hasn't seen him enough. So you're going to chase. It's just a matter of getting ahead and then making the quality pitches, and the last two have been that way.
Ball one to Brett Lawrie, batting with 2 outs and nobody on.
Well, he had a wake-up call last night. The tie home run off of Brad Brock, who has been pitching really well. Took a 95-mile-per-hour high fastball and tied it up, hit it in the left field. Kind of get an idea what kind of bat speed he can have. Of course, the Orioles know that. I mean, he's always hit them well. Which, as you mentioned, comes up with Milwaukee, traded over to Toronto. There's his skipper, Robin Ventura.
And a fair ball, deep third. Lawrie always hustles, throw, got him. Manny Machado with another outstanding throw across and gets his man. The Sox go 3 up and 3 down. Mid-second at Camden Yards, Machado showing off the arm. The game tonight, Donald Cole of Brookville has won $500 for being selected and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit tonight. Play home run Rich's scratch-offs and win up to $50,000 or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Visit mdlottery.com/baseball. Family night here at Camden Yards. A lot of families out. This appears it'll be the largest crowd of the first 3 games. It's also a dugout club game, so there's a lot of enthusiasm with the kids in the ballpark. Matt Latos allowed a run on 2 hits in the first. Wieters takes low 1-0.
Yeah, out of South Florida. I was talking to Dean Albany, a longtime Orioles scout. He said he scouted them in high school, Coconut Creek High School, which is not too far from Fort Lauderdale Stadium. 93-97.
1-1 the count.
Well, that'll get you noticed, but he went in the 11th round to San Diego. And
Broward Community College, which is right in downtown Fort Lauderdale, right? And a foul back. I know I've driven by it in the years in Fort Lauderdale. 11th round pick of San Diego in 2006. He was then traded to Cincinnati, who traded him to Miami. And last year was a year he'd like to forget. Miami to the Dodgers to the Angels. He was released, then became a free agent and found a home in Chicago.
Well, he was 4-7 with the Marlins, 0-3 with the Dodgers. He actually signed the last week of the season with the Angels because Joe Smith and Houston Street had some arm problems. So he was there for a wink of an eye.
Foul straight down at the plate. Wieters stays alive. Matt's trying to find that stroke. 2 for 15 over the past 5 games without an RBI. And for the first time this year, he is catching back-to-back days.
Well, you got to think that maybe he'll get a little bit more into rhythm, even though Rodon was the left-hander last night, so being a switch hitter, batting from the other side of the plate.
There's a good take, 2-2. Caleb Joseph will catch tomorrow. Showalter already mentioned that, pointing out something to Mark Trumbo. 2-2 on Wieters, leading off in the Orioles second. Ball 3. Now Latos came into this game. We showed you the 0.74 ERA. That is second in the American League. And he was also tied for second in wins with his 4. And Wieters fights it off to stay alive.
Well, that's incredible numbers, and get on those rolls and you make the pitches, and sometimes you get a little bit fortunate. But at the end of the day, that's lights out pitching.
How about Jordan Zimmerman? 0.35 going in, and he was pitching today, and Detroit won at Minnesota.
Well, I never saw anything that I ever saw from Jordan Zimmerman that didn't indicate to me that he can flat out pitch. And I think he got what, somewhere in the $100 million range from the Tigers.
Yeah, they made him a nice offer. He said thank you very much, and that was it. He was signed. Wieters, right center field. Off the end of the bat, it sounded like. Jackson is there, and one away. Let's get a look at our Coons.com AL League leaders, brought to you by Coons.com. Over 2 million vehicles sold and counting. Well, league leaders at home this season. Here's where the Orioles rank.
Well, just look at the runs per game, and then look at the ERA. So you're talking about 2.7 more runs than you've given up. And then you take into the other factors that it's your home field, and Orioles have home run hitters, and this is a hitter's ballpark. But that 2.18 ERA is incredible. And again, it's only through 10 games, but that's a great way to start.
Pedro Alvarez back in the lineup. He is thrilled that there's a right-hander on the mound.
Well, also he's seen him, 29 at bats with a couple of home runs and 8 RBIs, 276, pretty good average, better than his lifetime average. So they have some history.
By the way, Jordan Zimmerman's ERA skyrocketed today from 0.35 to 0.55 by giving up 1 run. But he got the win. Against the shift, tough play for Frazier, long throw across, not nearly in time. There's an infield hit for Alvarez.
Yeah, good pitch, but not where they're playing. I always thought you were supposed to pitch him one way and play him that way, and that's what Latos does. And Frazier makes a great play to get there, and then just a nice heave over there. But Pedro Alvarez not even in our picture.
Orioles' third base hit. And J.J. Hardy will bat. J.J. starting to heat up. He's got a 4-game hitting streak going. And there's a strike. Well, talk about balance in lineups, Jim. How about last night? 6 through 9. Wieters, Hardy, Reimold, and Schoop. They combined 5 for 13. Home run, 5 RBIs, and all 6 runs scored.
Yeah, the last 2, Reimold with a 3-run home run, and then Schoop with the 2-run single up the middle off of Rodon. 1 high strike, 1 low strike. So you can see right around 89 and 90, but movement, cutting it. He's got the curveballs and the changeup. That kind of velocity it's not like it hasn't been done before. You just have to pitch to stay out of the middle of the plate if you can.
Good take there. JJ 2 home runs on the year, and they came in the same game, April 12th at Fenway Park. He's got 53 at-bats since the second home run around that pesky pole.
Well, he's healthy and he's swinging the bat better, but it's just amazing that those 2 home runs are the opposite field, because he's a pull hitter. Or he's a
pull power hitter.
Yeah, pull power hitter.
And it's interesting because Austin Jackson in center field, shading the right center. There's a ton of room in left center field.
Kind of gives you an idea of how they're going to try to pitch to. And they have the kind of pitching staff, maybe with the exception of John Danks, who's been struggling, that you can play somebody, you know, your center fielder 2-3 steps to right, and you make your pitches. That's probably where the ball is going to be hit.
Yeah, and he got him.
Little cutter, slurve, but it goes down, whatever it was, at 83, and the bottom drops out. Yeah, maybe a splitter change. It just kind of looked like an off-speed slider, but very effective. You know, the intention on that pitch, if he doesn't miss it, is to get him to hit a ground ball and then get the double play. JJ swings through it.
First strikeout for Latos, 2 down. And here is Jonathan Schoop, who's in the number 8 spot tonight. John sporting the alternate orange based team socks with the alternate orange jerseys. He and Adam Jones both wearing these team socks tonight. That is a good look. I like that. And a foul back. Let's get a look at our PNC inside the numbers on Jonathan Schoop.
Yeah, we're always talking about when somebody's hot. Look early on. I mean, you can see, you know, when he's 11 for 35, when it's, you know, a little bit, maybe 320, he's chasing actually more than when he got into the slump, 4 for 37, but not hitting the ball as hard. Not a whole lot. But the average is about 77, and that's all the balls you put in play. So maybe you just get jammed a little bit. And
high fly ball to center field. Jackson's going to come in on it. And he's got it. So 1 out single and 1 left. The Orioles retired in the second. Latos trails the O's. We head to the third. 1-0 Baltimore. We go a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Kevin Gausman has faced 6 batters. He led off the top of the first, walking out of Meaton on 4 pitches, but then got a double play ball nicely turned from Machado to Schoop to Davis. So he has retired 5 in a row on the Saturday night at Camden Yards. Here's Jerry Sands, who is DHing tonight. Avisail Garcia on the final play of the game last night tweaked his hamstring, so he is not in the lineup tonight. Breaking ball for a strike. Good pitch.
Yeah, I always used to worry about that when somebody that, even though Avisail Garcia was starting to heat up, put on some really good at bats the first 2 games.
Line drive towards left center. Long run in for Kim. Won't get there. He plays extremely deep, and that one served in front of him. So leadoff single in this 1-0 game. Here's our Express Care stat. Express Care, a LifeBridge Health partner. For locations, visit whywaitintheer.com.
Yeah, and I don't know how you can explain that. I mean, maybe the dimensions are a little bit different. Maybe it's the fact that you're still very young and you're inexperienced. But just an amazing number to me. Now, in general, though, Jim, as we know, last year the Orioles were 47-31 at home. and on the road they were 34 and 50. So even as a club, they don't play as well. I don't understand that either. Offense was not where they wanted it last year.
Strike one to the switch hitting Dioner Navarro. He's finding his strokes, 6 for his last 17.
Well, he's just a veteran enough hitter where he'll look for pitches. And
weak ground ball towards the hole. Schoop can't reach it. It's a base hit. And heading to third is Jerry Sands. So how about that? A soft line drive and a ground ball that had eyes. First and third, nobody out.
But the soft fly ball sets that up. Veteran hitters are going to look for a ball they can hit by the first baseman, and then Schoop can't get it. And again, your second baseman's up the middle. One of the cardinal rules for starting pitchers, or really any pitcher, is don't let a left-hander pull the ball. If he does, you create the first and third. And in this situation with nobody out, the infield's going to play back. They're going to look for a double play. Don't want to have a big inning. It's almost instantaneous run for the other team if they do what they're been trying to do since spring training, which is situational hitting. Now, the way you can combat that, if you can, is try to strike out Austin Jackson, but you don't want to do that by ending up walking.
Jackson's had a tough series. He is 0 for 7 with 4 strikeouts.
So he's going to look to try to get something to hit in the air, and Kevin will try to make his pitches, look for a double play. If you have to concede the run, that's not what you want to do, but you just don't want to have a big inning.
And gets ahead 0-1.
And then when you get ahead, you go hunt for the strikeout. Especially if you get to somewhere where you get 2 strikes and maybe 0-2, 1-2.
Kevin had 7 strikeouts in his first start Monday at Tampa. Seeing the infield to double play depth. Navarro not a fast runner. And a strike on the outside corner, 0-2.
Yeah, maybe a little bit up. I think Austin Jackson would have liked to have it called up or away. Look at those numbers in the clutch.
Yeah, pretty impressive for a hitter batting .216 on the year.
But I don't know how many of those 368s came when he was down 0-2.
Just outside. Gausman in his career has averaged 8 strikeouts for every 9 innings he's worked. A very good number. And just under 3 walks per 9. He's at 2.7. 1-2 on Austin Jackson, the number 9 batter. And he fouls it back to stay alive.
Well, he comes in lifetime at 14 and 20, and ERA a little bit over 4 runs a game. He's pitched much better than that record indicated. In the modern day of baseball, and unless you're Kershaw, unless you're really a phenomenal pitcher, it's very difficult to win without run support.
Another foul ball to stay alive.
And right now you have Matt Wieters and the veteran catcher saying, okay, where can we go and try to strike him out? Now Mike Wright was able to do it with good 2-seamer up and in. And we were really kind of about the belt, and the ball ran about 10 inches. And that was one of the strikeouts for Austin Jackson last night. Just couldn't get to it.
Sixth pitch in this at bat coming up. And he got him a huge strikeout for Kevin Gausman.
Well, it wasn't a fastball, but it was a splitter changeup, and it was nicely thrown. Watch the bottom drop out, and he swings right over it. When you're throwing 97, this pitch can be very, very effective, and it was.
So Austin Jackson, Jim, has now struck out 4 consecutive at bats. He was 0 for 3 last night, struck out all 3 times, and he strikes out here in his first at bat. Now here's Adam Eaton. He's got a lot of speed. Walked his first at bat on 4 pitches. Although he has bounced into 3 double plays already this year.
Well, they're going to have to be back up the middle.
But and misses.
Well, that was what they call it, maybe a possible safety squeeze where you bunt it and Jerry Sands makes a determination down to third base. I mean, you'll see it right here. He's coming in. If he makes contact, he will probably go. But he also knows where Manny Machado is playing. I mean, he's off the bag. Heads up play by a veteran outfielder. Just couldn't quite make contact. There's another strike. Well, you're seeing #1 draft choice stuff right here. I mean, you're seeing 93 to 97. He came out of LSU with a curveball, somewhat of a slider, and a split changeup.
Eaton down 0-2. Line foul. Was that ever a defensive swing, protecting that outside corner?
Well, the dynamics of him coming to the plate, as you mentioned, he's tough to double up, even though he's hit it in a couple, and he knows that. Another a little different hitter than Austin Jackson, who has a history of striking out a lot. So he's just trying to put the ball in play and take his chances. Slow roller, fly ball of any depth, he'll probably get the tie run. And of course, Gausman wants to strike him out.
0-2. Just inside. That's a pretty good batting eye to take that pitch.
Well, you have about 0.4 of a second to distinguish what the pitch is. And maybe when you're throwing 97, it might be 3.5 seconds, tenths of a second. Speeds up a little bit.
Just did get a piece.
I mean, that's a fabulous pitch right there. But see, what is his approach, Jim? He's trying to hit the ball the other way, just trying to make contact. It's like you're playing pepper, something they used to do in the old days. Just try to put the bat head on the ball.
Wieters peeking over at John Russell.
And you're at a count. If you're going to come in, you can come in. But we saw last night, he doesn't mind getting hit. Got hit 14 times last year. And the way they're struggling for runs in this series, with only 5 in the first 2 games.
Runner from first goes. The pitch is fouled off. So they put the catcher Navarro in motion to try to avoid a double play. And Eaton fouls it off. So another extended at bat. This will be the 7th pitch coming, with Sands at third and Navarro at first.
Didn't he hit a triple, I think, up in Toronto? Yeah.
Split the gap and it hit the wall and eluded the outfielder.
So he's feeling fast this week.
1-2. Navarro doesn't go. Ground ball to third. Manny to score. He threw it away. Run scores, and heading to third is Navarro. Heading to second is Eaton.
No.
And another one thrown away, but Hardy's there to back it up.
Well, routine double play if you make the good throw, and Manny usually does that. Boy, hit sharply. You got speed at the plate, and ball just tails, drops the arm enough, and he's going to turn into a double play, except at the throw. You could just see it. Got underneath it. Ball tails. Jonathan Schoop can't catch it. So the Orioles are having a White Sox inning. That's what the White Sox did last night, and the Orioles took advantage of it.
Well, that'll be a fielder's choice and an RBI for Eaton, because you cannot assume a double play will be turned. We're tied at 1 and 2 in scoring position with 1 down, and a foul back off the bat of Saladino. So instead of an inning-ending double play and the Orioles coming up to bat with a 1-0 lead, now Gausman has to pitch out of a jam for Machado. First error of the year. And a close pitch taken by Saladino, 1-1. And a bunt foul back this way.
Yeah, another safety squeeze. Navarro comes down the line. If he gets it down, fine. If not, suicide squeeze it. He's going. So if you bunt through it, which he does, he just fouls it off. And it's actually a pretty good technique, except the ball was about 98 miles per hour, and he couldn't. He didn't drop the handle of the bat.
One and two on Saladino. And a bloop to right field. Schoop is back, and he makes the catch. Dropped it. It's in play, and a run scores. He got to it, he had it, and he couldn't hold on, and Chicago has the lead.
Well, they might score that an error. It wasn't an easy play, but it's a ball that it looked like he appeared to catch. Going back, right in the glove, and then he fumbles it. So that'll definitely be an error because it's a catchable ball. Trying to keep it into the chest, and it falls.
And it is an error. So 2 errors in this inning has helped the White Sox get a 2-1 lead. Still only 1 out. Now you're getting to the danger part of the lineup. So Manny and Schoop with their first errors of the year in the same inning.
Well, it's 2 extra outs, and actually make it 3 in a sense, because the double play, I know you can't anticipate it, but if you watch the Orioles play, you can. And now you're right about Jose Abreu. Is he's owning right field. Even the first time up, he smoked one right at Chris Davis last night. Single to right, soft and hard, couple of them.
So there will be no RBI for Saladino. It's a straight error. Eaton gets an RBI because you cannot assume a double play. So the 2 leadoff singles do in fact come around the score because of the 2 errors. Too tight, nearly hit him. The Gausman extended here. What is usually a very reliable and stingy defense. 2 errors in the inning.
Oh, look at that command. 23 pitches, 19 for strikes.
Right back to Gausman. He'll go to Schoop out there, back to first, double play, and that ends the inning. So after all that, the Sox settle for 2. Gausman with a big double play ball to end it. So it goes 1 to 4 to 3. Mid-third, Sox now in front. Orioles baseball on MASN is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. Well, Jim's dream's about to come true. There's the dessert wagon heading our way.
It's the dessert wagon. Does
Or
it ever
kiosk.
come? Does it ever come to the broadcast level?
Well, you know, you're in the Hall of Fame. Call your people, get it down here.
Or up here, wherever it's coming from.
Looked like it was up on the club level.
Well, Matt Latos says that's not bad. I give up 1, you get me 2. Can't really usually count on that the way the Orioles play defense.
Here's Hyun-Soo Kim. And he'll take low. Kim is making just his 2nd start in the Orioles' last 15 games. And he does bring a 3-game hitting streak into.
Well, he took a changeup. He pinch hit the other night in that 10-2 game where Orioles get 10 runs, 15 hits, and he had a good changeup to left field. I mean, just like he knew it was coming. So they play him kind of, you know, maybe they'll probably be a step out. I mean, Jackson over in left center because he does hit the ball to left field.
Pulls it sharply past the glove of Abreu and down the line. That ball was smoked. Kim is hustling to second base, slides in with a double.
And I was about to say, though, that changes when you go 2-0. When you don't have a power pitcher on the mound and you're shifted around, he's got to throw a strike and he's waiting. And then Abreu, who goes, I want to play again. It's another ball that probably should have been caught. That's not an easy play, but it's way out in front of him. I don't think they'll give him an error because it was hit so hard, but good first baseman's pick it, but you know, maybe Abreu a little bit better hitter than fielder. So the Orioles get a break. Let's see if they can take advantage of it.
First extra base hit of Kim's career. And now the lineup turns over for Manny.
And let's see if Manny will shoot one to right. Very adept at doing that. Move the runner either in or over.
Pretty amazing. It's taken Kim a day beyond 2 weeks to have a 4-game hitting streak. It's hard to hit like that. Bounce towards the hole. Knocked down by Saladino. Behind the runner, no play. That'll be an infield hit for Machado.
Yeah, really nice play by Tyler Saladino to get it, but there's no force. So the only way that Laurie would have been able to get Kim out. So the play's in front of you. You don't run. And when he does nice base running, look at this range. And then the snap throw. Figure maybe Kim would come off the bag, which he doesn't. He scurries back nicely. What a play. Almost 2,000 at bats for Saladino in the minor leagues. And, you know, it looks like he's a guy that stole a lot of bases and maybe a defensive wizard.
So the Orioles had 2 hits in the first, 1 hit in the second, and they have 2 here in the third. So 5 hits already. Nobody down for Jones. Strike 1. Perfectly placed pitch. Chicago 0 for 4, helped out by 2 errors, though. The Orioles are 2 for 2. One of those just occurred, did not drive in a run. Good cut. 0-2.
And it was, yeah, because the approach is to hit the ball the other way. You know, Adams doing a nice job of staying inside the ball. In other words, not hitting around it, but just missing it. But you can see Latos, he can move the ball around. I mean, that's his game. And he'll throw a ball down and away, got the corner and the low strike on the first pitch. Then he came up and in. See where Navarro is going to go right here. He'll move late. And there's the splitter. Trying to get Jonesy to roll over and maybe get a double play ball. Yeah, we have seen Adam over the years become a better 2-strike hitter because he will use the middle of the field, the right field sector. And it just allows him to wait a little bit longer. Now, it doesn't mean he can't hit a 3-run home run if you hang a pitch, but his approach is, I'm going back up the middle, right center field, let the ball travel. Try to discern what kind of pitch it is.
And he gets a piece to stay alive. The hit off Navarro. Ball rolls all the way out to Wayne Kirby. The White Sox must have a lot of confidence in Jackson's ability to cover ground. Even though you're right in the sense that Adam will use right center field, he really is a pull hitter. And there's just a ton of room out there in left center field.
Well, what happens if you're right-handed and you hit the ball right center, the ball usually slices away from the outfielder. So he's going to play there where the ball hit to his right. In other words, left center. Unless you hook it, you might have a chance to run down. Otherwise, you'll never catch up with it in right center.
Bounce to third, out at third, out at second, no throw back to first. But they get two.
Well, it's just a great pitch by Matt Latos. You know, in and out and up and down, and then he just throws a little cutter or a little slider or whatever and gets Adam out on his front foot, and then he gets the perfect ground ball. And Frazier doesn't even hesitate. He's taking triple play. And so is Laurie. And then what's going to happen is Robin Ventura is going to come out. I mean, here we go with the rule plays. If the intent or the slide was where you're trying to take the second baseman out, I guess you can get an extra out.
That's what he's looking for.
Yeah. So take a look. I mean, there's your first out. And there's your second out. But see how he grabbed him? So they're probably going to ask if.
Here's the rule. If a runner does not engage in a bona fide slide and initiates or attempts to make contact with the fielder for the purpose of breaking up the double play, he should be called for interference under the rule. And if interference is called, the runner at first, in this case Adam Jones, would be ruled out.
And I think if they go back and look at it, you're going to see. It looked to me that Kim tried to grab his ankle. Actually make it Manny Machado. See right there. I mean, so if they go back and look at that, well, he's off the bag.
Or was he just sliding and his arm happened to hit the ankle?
Well, it doesn't really matter. He did.
Well,
yeah, you know what I'm saying. You can't read the intention whether he did or not. I mean, he grabbed his ankle, and I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what the rule is. Whether you already got the double play. And I think the umpires are saying, okay, can we actually call the runner out because they're going to get a triple play. I mean, look at the ankle. I mean, he grabbed it.
Well, but you see, here's the other thing, though, and they're going to look at it. There was no intent at all for Laurie. There was no intention to throw to first base.
Doesn't really matter, I don't think, Jim. Yeah.
But it should matter, Jim.
Well, I'm not debating that. What I'm saying is they're going to go back and look, and Buck's going to come out. And this is maybe a whole nother rule interpretation that we haven't seen this year yet.
I mean, I can understand if Manny grabs an ankle and Laurie throws and the throw ends up in the stands because he altered his form. But Laurie had no intention at all throwing to first. He knew he couldn't get Jones.
Well, he may say, I couldn't because he grabbed my ankle. I'm just telling you. It's a little devil's advocate there. I think Buck's trying to figure out, and so are the umpires. I mean, right there, he grabbed the ankle. And then he had to reach back on the base. And I'm just not sure whether they can actually ask for a review, because if we get a review, he's going to be out. And not he's going to be, he's already out. What's going to happen is Adam Jones, even though there was no chance to throw him out or any attempt. It's just the way the new rules are. And obviously this one's not really in the spirit of what the game that I used to play.
Yeah. I understand safety. I really do. But I mean, if you can't break up a double play or try to break up a double play.
Well, you can. You just can't. You have to slide directly in the bag, and you can't hook the second baseman or the shortstop with your hand or arm. I mean, there's just certain rules now, and just, I mean, maybe Manny didn't try to do it. His momentum is just he's on that side. But he did grab him. And we'll see how they interpret it in New York. It's really what it comes down to. And the other thing, Jim, if we go back there and look at it, Manny actually slid across the bag, past the bag, and had to reach back. I would think that would also be a violation too. And again, I don't know what his intent is, but watch this slide. So you're supposed to slide to the bag. As it turns out, he's way by it, and then he has to reach back.
Or it could be that it was just a bad slide.
Well, I understand that, but they don't know that in New York, and it just appears to me, and again, this is not, it's somewhat vague, but it looks like, again, its intention may not have been to do anything other than break it up, but he did slide past the bag, and his left hand did hook Brett Lawrie.
So we wait.
And we wait.
And Matt Latos is getting tight out there. He took several warm-up pitches. So all the new speed-up rules are not really helping. And this is obviously taking longer because I think what they're probably looking at is, did he really mean to do it, or was he just trying to slide to the bag and his arm happened to hit the ankle?
I don't think they will even look at that because you just can't read the intention. They're going to look at what happened. And what happened was he slid by the bag and he grabbed his ankle with his left hand. Whether he tried it or not, I don't think they're going to care in New York. And this is going to be the first time you've seen actually a triple play. So take a look. Now, I don't know what his intention. It's a late slide. Look how late he slides, and he goes by the bag. He hooks his ankle. That's certainly interfering. Now, maybe he meant to do it, or maybe he didn't. I don't think they can really read that in New York.
Okay, they're going to say Adam Jones can stay on base. So in their minds, there was no intention on Manny's part to grab the ankle and upset Brett Lawrie's attempt to throw to first.
Yeah, and Robin Ventura comes out and just says, well, of course, he's not talking to the people who made the decision.
That's Jerry Davis, who is the crew chief.
Yeah, and Robin's saying, I just don't know how you cannot call him out, because he did everything that I think the rule was put in to avoid, which is reaching out, sliding past the bag, so the Orioles get a break.
And Ventura still carrying on the argument. He's been ejected.
You know, and the interesting thing, Robin just took one for the club, but Jerry Davis didn't make the decision.
Right.
Umpires in New York, people sitting in the room.
Well, there's a lot of confusion with the rules because they're not interpreted, Jim, the same way from crew to crew and game to game. And that's where I think a lot of this.
Well, but that's why you send it to New York to actually get the final word. I think for Robin Ventura, he better get Latos back out there, because last year's home run king is coming to the plate. And of course, he'll get as many pitches as he needs, because I don't know how long this delay was, but it had to be close to 10 minutes.
And again, you can't blame Ventura, because as you described, if that's what they're told is interference, then why wasn't it called interference?
That's my point.
Yeah. I don't think Manny did anything intentionally, but if that's what the intent of the rule is, Jones should have been called out. So let's see if the O's can take advantage of it. Here's Davis. And into the shift, past the shift, there's a base hit. So Davis jumping on the first pitch. He's 1 out of 2 and 2 on with 2 out.
Yeah, pretty much a belt high fastball right down the middle, and boy, that's right into his power. He hooks it by Brett Lawrie, who's playing in short right field.
Well, Latos, who had allowed only 13 hits total in his first 4 starts, has already allowed 6 hits here tonight.
Well, now you see why Robin Ventura went out there, because if he gets the call, Davis doesn't hit, and Trumbo doesn't hit now that Chris has gotten on.
Outside, ball 1.
Now 1 for 5 plus tonight, so 1 for 6 for Mark Trumbo off Matt Latos. Oh, excuse me, you got the looping base hit, 2 for 6.
And a good eye.
I'm sorry, Mark. You not only did you get a hit, you got an RBI.
That's right. So Robin Ventura has just been ejected for the 12th time in his career as manager of the White Sox. Seems like a lot.
Well, they didn't play very well last year. I imagine it would be easy to get frustrated.
Bouncer towards short. Saladino will flip to Lawrie, and that ends the threat. So after all that, the Orioles don't score. 3 hits, 2 left, led to the 4th in a 2-1 game. Fourth inning of Orioles baseball is brought to you by the RAV4 Hybrid. All-wheel drive and unexpected performance. Visit buyatoyota.com. Nice crowd on hand on this Saturday night at Camden Yards. 2-1 game. Manny Machado, a throwing error, allowing the first run to score. Kevin Gausman was on the bench a long time. That was a long bottom of the 3rd because of the discussion. Then the waiting for New York to make a decision, and then the ejection.
And you would think you'd get extra warm-up pitches.
First ball swinging. Manny goes down to get it. Gets up and throws and gets Frazier. Nice scoop and stretch on the back end by Chris Davis. Now let's go back to the top of the 3rd, Jim. Very uncharacteristic. 2 errors in the same inning.
Well, you get the first 2 guys on, and then you get a strikeout, and then Eden hits a ball that, and even though he runs well, it's tailor-made for double play. And then right here, Schoop, not an easy play, but it's a play that he almost always makes. And Navarro will come in. So again, the double play would have ended the inning, and then the fact that you don't get the out, and then the ball that Schoop misplays allowed the other run. But to Kevin Gausman's credit, he pitched out of the jam, and then he gets Frazier to bounce out on the 2nd pitch.
Melky Cabrera takes ball 1. And there's a strike, fastball right there.
That's why it's such a freaky game. I mean, that was a very difficult play that Manny Machado just made, and he made it look routine, which is what he does.
And that one sails outside. Off-speed pitch.
You know, infielders and outfielders no different than pitchers. When you drop your elbow, the ball does not go where you want it to go, and that's what he did on that throw. That's why it sailed and kind of ran. That's why Schoop couldn't catch it.
Popped up. Davis calls. And 2 down.
Yeah, Kevin Gausman says, okay, I'm just going to get some easy outs, going to make some pitches. And that's really what you do, is that you have a game plan. You throw to the glove. You make your pitches. Your defense is set up depending on how you're playing people. And when you have that kind of ability, it seems like it just flows. Good for a lot of the guys that I pitch with. And not trying to make perfect pitches. You just, you know, staying out of the middle of the plate, maybe the outside quarter of the plate, inside quarter, drop off a breaking ball, change up every once in a while so they know you have 3-4 pitches. Tillman had 5 the other night. They had no idea that what was coming down in Tampa Bay. Oh,
that's gone. Laurie got into one and hits it out. So it's 3-1. White Sox have the lead. Brett Laurie's second home run in this series.
Well, I don't know if you can hang a changeup any more than Kevin Gausman did there. You know, he throws 2 changeups, a splitter that's supposed to go down, but this one doesn't move at all. So high fastball over Brock. Take a look. I mean, just there. In this ballpark, you can see him turn it over. And it off the bat is out of here.
His 3rd of the year, 2nd in this series. He hit one out last night against Brad Brock, which at the time tied the game.
Well, they were last in home runs and runs scored last year in the American League. And anytime you go out and get Todd Frazier and you get Navarro and you get Laurie, who did hit 16 home runs for Oakland, you should have a pretty improved offense.
Sands behind 0-2. And a base hit to right field on an 0-2 pitch. Just goes with it.
How about that? 98, and he smokes it into right field.
So a 2-out single. The inning continues. Fans, mark your calendars as the Yankees are set to come to town. Their first visit to Oriole Park this year. It all begins on Tuesday, the beginning of a 3-game midweek series. So come on out and help us paint the ballpark orange for this classic AL East battle. Good tickets remain for each game, so get your tickets now. Online, Orioles.com, or call 888-848-BIRD. Brett Laurie with Todd Frazier. Here's Navarro, who singled his first at bat. Swings through a changeup, 0-1. Deanna Navarro has been well traveled, but somebody always wants him, and that's a good thing.
Oh, switch hitting catcher calls a good game. You know, not one of those rocket arms, but he certainly has a good enough arm to throw people out if you give him a chance. Hold your runners.
Yankees signed him out of Venezuela. He was then traded to Arizona in a deal that got Randy Johnson from Arizona to the Yankees. He's been with the Dodgers, Tampa Bay, the Dodgers again, Cincinnati, the Cubs, Toronto, and now the White Sox. So he has played for both Chicago teams, and he's been a Dodger 2 different times. And since 2010 for Navarro, the White Sox are his 6th organization. Last year in Toronto, he was the backup to Russell Wilson. Sands on at first with 2 down.
Russell Martin.
What did I say?
Russell Wilson.
No, Russell Martin.
He also plays quarterback when he's not catching. It's easy. That Russell Martin guy.
Yeah, that guy. who we've already seen this year.
Yes. Actually had back-to-back passed balls, and the Orioles won both games.
Navarro had a ground ball single past Davis in the third inning. The two hits by Sands and Navarro got the Sox going.
Well, that's the veteran ability. Kevin Gausman tried to come in, and he saw Sands being held on, and he knew that if he can get him to third, put pressure on Kevin, and it did. Didn't hit it very hard, but there was nobody playing there. A little bit different here. Put the shift on.
From 0-2 to 2-2. Slice foul, that'll be back out of play.
Well, you like to see the fact just because he hangs a changeup, that's what Laurie hit out of the ballpark. He's not, and he's going to put it in his back pocket. It's a pretty good one that Navarro just able to foul off.
Jones and Kim shallow in center and left. Trumbo straight away and right, maybe a step towards the gap. And then you see Schoop in shallow right field. Ooh, just outside. What an at bat for Navarro. On the seventh pitch, he takes ball 3.
Well, he had a nice job of making contact. And part of that is what's your approach with 2 strikes. And it just seems that they're able to shorten their swing.
So Sands will be off with the pitch. 3-2 with 2 down. And a foul. It rolls foul.
Yeah, Todd Steverson, the hitting instructor, so he was there last year. Greg Sparks came on as his assistant. There is Todd on the left there.
There's Rick Renteria, the bench coach, acting manager with Robin Ventura ejected. Right center field. Adam Jones will move over. And he puts it away, so Gausman gets out of it without any further damage. The Sox had a run on the Laurie home run mid-4th. 3-1 Chicago. Well, a lot of the Vietnam vets are here tonight as the Orioles are celebrating the Vietnam veterans. Quite a few in attendance.
I wonder if Al Bunbury.
He is. He caught the first pitch.
Oh.
The B.
He was here last night, back-to-back nights. Platoon leader. He used to tell us stories of what went on over there, which was horrifying.
Wieters takes ball 1. And 1-1 on the foul ball. Matt flied out his first at bat. 2 for his last 16. And they have the shift on against him. The other way, but it goes foul.
Yeah, you can see sometimes when Matt is struggling, and again, it's hard. As you mentioned, he really hasn't been playing every day. About the front foot, you know, sometimes they have the high leg kick, but when he's struggling, he gets the foot down a little bit. Maybe the kick not as pronounced.
And he fights that off to stay alive.
Well, the one thing about Matt Latos, he can get himself into trouble and out of it because he changes speed so well. I don't think he's thrown a ball over 90, but again, in and out, cutter, turn it over. Nice little slow curve ball, maybe one a little bit slower or harder than the next. And then the splitter.
And he went too far. Navarro will play it to first, so there's a strikeout. Wieters is 0 for 2. And 1 away in the Oriole 4th inning.
If you know, I was trying to think who Carlos Rodon looked like last night, the young 23-year-old pitcher. But the more I see Latos pitch, it reminds me of Freddie Garcia towards the end of his career. You know, over the top, throws out the left arm, changes speeds, not afraid to throw it over. Knows that pitching is mixing up pitches and trying to destroy hitters' timing.
Pedro Alvarez takes ball 1. As Jim mentioned, Alvarez has the most head-to-head against Latos because they were in the same division in the NL Central. Pedro singled against the shift his first at-bat. Left center field. That ball's poked. Back it goes. Back it goes. Gone for Alvarez. There's his first of the year, and it's a 1-run game. And another $500 for our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, Donald Cole of Brookville.
Well, he hit 131 home runs for the Pirates. And that's the 13th most in franchise history, and that's what he can do. He can drive the ball the other way. Saw it in spring training.
Here's J.J. Hardy. He'll take strike 1.
Well, remember the Laurie changeup? Look at this Hagen curveball. This is up, but he doesn't wait for it to come down. He just goes out and smokes it. And in Camden Yards, boy, short porch out there. Let's see, he probably hit that ball maybe 378 on the line.
He is one of the hitters who in batting practice, ground ball towards the hole. There's Saladino. And he'll get Hardy for the second out. Alvarez, Jim, does use the entire field in BP. He just doesn't go up there and try to hit as many over the scoreboard as he can. And it looked to me almost consciously today was working towards left center field. And here he gets a pitch in the game to go that way.
Well, I don't think you can hit any other way when you're playing infrequently. And that's what's happened. You know, with Pittsburgh, he played pretty much every day. Maybe he would. You know, Clint Hurdle might give him, you know, the time off against the lefties, but he's playing almost every day against the right-handers. But he is strong, and he has a history of hitting home runs. And he just did, which is a good thing.
And he's also 6 for his last 9.
Latos did the old stare in when he thought that breaking ball was a strike.
Pedro had gone 22 at-bats without an RBI prior to that home run.
Well, he had a lot of good at-bats in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he did.
Double machine, so he got to play. Took advantage of it.
Scope, deep left. Back it goes, and that ball is gone, and we're tied. A 2-home run inning for the Birds. "41 at-bats without a long ball. That drought is over. And we're back even at 3. And a big inning for the Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, Donald Cole of Brookville, another $500.
Well, count has a lot to do, and you know, when you get the pitcher in the hole, and that's what had happened, when you get good pitches to hit, this team can hit the ball a long, long way.
Ball 1 to Kim.
Well, this is 2-0. You're looking fastball in the middle of the plate. Where was it? It was smoked. And Melky Cabrera, I mean, he took about 2 steps and just watched how far it was going.
So the home run hitters on the bench. Pedro, get back.
Yeah, Young Soo.
You ruined the shot.
Kim was going, I might just have to hit another one here.
Kim doubled his first at-bat. So he extends his hitting streak to 4 straight. Goes the other way, as he is apt to do, but slices back in the crowd. So the 2 home runs get Gausman even. Uh-oh. Look what's back, Jim. The mist. Line drive to left, and that falls for a base hit. He's a machine. 2 for 2. And another multi-hit game is 3rd.
You know, Don Comer's pitching coach is going to come out because Matt Latos is learning you cannot throw mediocre hittable pitches to this lineup, and they're massaging them all over the ballpark.
So a 2-out single keeps the inning going. Well, next Sunday, your family has a special opportunity to take the field here at Oriole Park and create some new Birdland memories. Tickets are on sale for the special pregame Mother's Day session of Catch prior to the game against Oakland at 1:35. Visit Orioles.com/catch for all the information on packages that include game tickets and the on-field access to play catch. Now, a portion of the proceeds will benefit the Orioles Charitable Foundation. For your tickets and more information, visit Orioles.com/catch.
He made a good point about the fact he came in, talking about Matt Latos, what, 24 to 3rd innings, 13 hits. In 3 2/3, he's given up 9.
And the lineup turns over. Kim on at first with 2 down for Machado. In the dirt.
Yeah, you better make your pitches against the Orioles. I mean, that pretty much could be said about most clubs. But this one, if you're not on your game, it can be a short night.
And a base hit to right field. That keeps the inning going. Kim looks at Dickerson, gets the stop sign, and he holds it second. So Manny's got a 2-hit game, his 11th multi-hit effort, and the O's have 2 on with 2 down. It's a 2-home run, 4-hit inning.
Well, 5 RBIs on Thursday night, and what did Manny say? I went back to the tee. One of the better high ball hitters in baseball, and he gets a ball up in the zone and it just hits a tee into right field. And Don Cooper, White Sox pitching coach, on the phone to the bullpen. You know, sooner or later Adam Jones is going to get into one.
Well, he's gone 44 at-bats without a home run. Putnam is now going to get loose.
The great change-up splitter pitch. Well, again, part of the very good bullpen for the White Sox.
Fouled it off 0-1. The O's 2 for 4 runners in scoring position. The Sox are 0 for 4, but benefited from the 2 errors in the 3rd inning. Jonathan Schoop's home run tied it. Adam Jones trying to get Kim home from second base with the go-ahead run. Ooh, that one came in up and in.
Well, that's up and in to try to get him out like he did the last time when he rolled over in a little cutter. And a great high home, and I mean, it's part of the game. Got to move the hitter, whether it's the legs or upper extremities.
1-2 on the foul ball back.
Yeah, those are just pitches that Adam, when healthy and hot, usually hit. They're the scoring position numbers. And they're good ones. Orioles with the best numbers in the American League.
Fans are back into it. One and two on Jones. Slow roller towards third. Tough play for Frazier. Throws off balance and out at first base is Adam Jones. What a play by Frazier. And that will end the inning. He had the bare hand that he did, and he gets it to first in time. Umpires are waiting to see if Buck Showalter may want to challenge.
Heck of a play to even make it. The only way you can make it is with the bare hand.
And they will not challenge. So Adam bounces out, and that ends the inning. But what an inning for the Orioles. They came to bat down 3-1. Pedro Alvarez goes with the pitch. He hits it out to left center field, his first as an Oriole. That made it 3-2. And then Jonathan Schoop came up 2 batters later. He hits it out. We are tied at 3. PNC for the achiever in you. Trey Mancini promoted to AAA Norfolk and starting to find that stroke, Jim, batting .263, but how about 5 for his last 12 and a 3-game hitting streak?
Yeah, I think what you've seen with Trey, I mean, he changed his stance last year and had one of those incredible years. I mean, both at Frederick and Bowie, but he makes adjustments. Got a little bit more upright, and it seems like every level he's gone to, he's taken his normal amount of bats and then make the adjustments. But he's apparently talked to a lot of scouts last year. They really like him. They say he's got a good idea. He knows the strike zone. So we'll see as he progresses.
And he's been in AAA for a week or so, and he's still tied for the Eastern League lead in home runs with 7. Ball and a strike on Austin Jackson. Fastball right there at the knees. And 1-2. Let's get a look at our Jeep inside the numbers.
Well, take a look at Kevin Gausman. First 3 innings, ERA very low, home runs down, and then we get into the 4th inning, and the ERA goes up more than 2 runs, and home runs almost double. And the only thing I can think about, and already I've seen it a little bit better this year, is the breaking ball. The fact that secondary pitches, still trying to figure out, am I going to throw a slider or it's going to be a swerve curveball. He had a really good one down in Tampa. just seems like maybe the second time through the order, or really into the third time of the order, they start eliminating pitches. But again, when the breaking ball becomes a little bit better, where he can sustain it during the game. Chris Tillman came up with a slider. Probably will get one of those sooner or later.
Machado plays the hop. And one away here in the Chicago fifth inning. Now, voting is now open for the 2016 All-Star Game. Just go to Orioles.com/voteorange. Fans can vote up to 35 times per email address with a maximum of 5 votes in a 24-hour period. And each fan who votes at least 5 times and selects the O's as their favorite team automatically is entered for a chance to win an All-Star Game jersey signed by the Orioles All-Stars. Plus, if you vote 20 times and select the O's as your favorite team, you'll receive a promo code for a buy one, get one free offer for regularly priced tickets for the July series against the Rockies. So vote early, vote often, vote orange. Visit Orioles.com/voteorange today. Fly ball left center field. Jones will glide over to it. Look out. Look out, Mr. Kim. Adams there for the out and 2 men down. Time now for Masson's Trivia Scramble. Who is the only Oriole to win the AL MVP twice? Text the answer to 29292 for your chance to win an autographed prize pack from Masson. Brought to you by Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield. Live fearless with a name trusted for over 75 years. Here's Saladino. Fouls it back.
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers of Tyler Saladino. 261 lifetime in the minors. That was 1,991 at bats. But he's a speedster. 111 steals, caught 30 times. So an infielder that. There's a nice little breaking ball.
0-2 on Saladino.
Yeah, you look at Kevin Gausman, 238 first time through the lineup, 287, but then it goes down the third time to 255. So I don't think it's, I don't think he loses a whole lot on the fastball. It's right there at 98, so he certainly hasn't lost anything. But what he did so well in Tampa was pitching both sides of the plate. And right there, he tried to get in, but it was out over the plate. Saladino had a pretty good swing. And, he'll learn.
And he got him. Real strong inning for Gausman, so his team gets him back even. And he has a 3-up, 3-down inning. Our Honda do-ups, Davis, Trumbo, and Wieters. Baseball on Masson is brought to you by Royal Farms. ATMs are surcharge free. Get your cash for nothing. Bank or credit card fees may still apply. Concourse here at Camden Yards. 3-3 game. O's with 10 base hits. They are 8-1 so far, Jim, in games in which they have 10 hits. Well, here's Chris Davis. Center field, Jackson there, going back, has a play, and he hauls it in for the out. So Davis, first ball swinging, and skies out to center field. One away in the Oriole fifth. Don't forget, the day after the Orioles win and score 5 or more runs, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com with the promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Mark Trumbo RBI single in the first, bounced into a force play to end the third. And a strike on the corner, perfect pitch.
It was. Well, when Latos got traded from San Diego to Cincinnati, 4 players: Yonder Alonso, Brad Boxberg, he's the closer for Tampa Bay; Edison Volquez, he's starting pitcher with Kansas City; and then there's Yasmani Grandal, who's now the starting catcher for the Dodgers. So a 4-for-1. It kind of tells you what they thought about him. And then he goes 14-4, 14-7, and then knee and elbow problems.
Yonder Alonso is Manny Machado's brother-in-law, and he's now with Oakland. Right center field. Will it split the gap? Eaton is over. Nope, he's got there. And he makes the grab for the out. 2 men down. Boy, center fielder playing right. He covers a lot of ground. Here's our Mile One upcoming schedule. Mile One Automotive offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit us in-store or online at mile1.com. Well, the finale here tomorrow, day game on MASN and WJZ. Day off on Monday. Then the Yankees come to town for a 3-game series. All-night games on MASN beginning Tuesday night. And there's Putnam getting loose
for the
again.
Second time. So.
Ball one to Wieters, who is 0 for 2.
Well, Latos has managed to hang around, and of course he's 1 out from having his guys come up in the 6th. And as we mentioned, they have one of the best bullpens in all of baseball. So you hang around, you try to get out of this inning, and then you hope your guys come up with some offense. And Robin Ventura, or whoever the bench coach, well, Rick Renteria is the bench coach, but somebody will make a decision. If we're going to the bullpen, you might have a chance to win. There's the pitching coach, Don Cooper.
Up and in, a ball for Matt Wieters, so the count to 2-1. Ball 3. But Showalter did say before the game when he met with the media that Wieters not catching back-to-back days until tonight was by design, and he'll take a 2-out walk. And sort of being preventive with the elbow. But by catching tonight, he caught last night. Caleb Joseph then can catch tomorrow, the day game after the night game.
Yeah, the good thing about the Orioles, you know, Wieters, even though, think about Caleb Joseph, people, and Matt was hurt last year, he had the 4th most RBIs on the ball club. I mean, he had a terrific year, but both of them throw well. And so if you're a Baldo Jimenez who are going to pitch tomorrow, very comfortable with Caleb behind the plate.
Alvarez takes strike 1.
Well, there's the power zone. Pretty much, you know, the plate is 17 inches wide. You can take a ball and add another maybe 2 inches, so maybe you can get it to be 21 inches. But in the middle, Pedro Alvarez hits the ball real hard. He floats a little curve ball off the outside corner. That's what he hit for the home run, except it was up and over the outside edge of the plate.
And now Austin Jackson, as Wieters leads from first, is over towards the left center gap, knowing that Alvarez willing to go that way. Outstanding off-speed pitch, 1-2.
Yeah, I think if you're going to pitch to Pedro Alvarez, you got to go up in the zone, up and in, and then, or you got to really take some off. And talked about the 2 curveballs. That was the slower of the slower. 78 miles per hour, 12 miles per hour slower than his fastball.
Right center field. That ball's hit a ton. Way back it goes. It's over Jackson's head and against the wall. Wieters heading to third. He'll be set. And on at second base with an RBI double is Pedro Alvarez. The Orioles have the lead back at 4-3.
Well, the game doesn't change. I don't care what area you play in. You know, you make a good pitch, he swings through it, you hang it, which is pretty much what he did for the home run. And then Austin Jackson, who can go get him, he just can't catch up with it. He hits it so hard. I mean, he smokes it, 2 outs, Matt Wieters running. I mean, he's already got a secondary lead, and he's on his way, and the one it gets over his head. And the good news is, because of the cinder warning track, the ball doesn't bounce over the wall. It used to be, what, a cork-like substance here? That probably would have been ground rule double, cost the Orioles a run.
Ball 1 to Hardy. So Pedro's got a 3-for-3 night. All he needs is a triple, and he's hit for the cycle.
That's all?
That's all. Just the hardest of the 4 hits to get.
Unless you're Mike Trout or somebody like that, you know.
Bryce Felix PA.
Oh, that's true. They did it against the Angels.
Right field. Eaton is there, and he's got it for the out. Ball hit well, but right at Adam Eaton. But the Orioles get the lead on the 2-out rally. Alvarez drives in the run. We're through 5, 4-3 O's. Well, throughout the season, the Orioles are honoring those members of our extended Orioles community who have distinguished themselves by selflessly working or volunteering in fields that care for, serve, teach, protect, and improve the lives of others around the corner of the globe. And today's honoree is Captain Jim Warner. He's a Vietnam veteran and a former United States Marine Corps navigator. Now, Captain Warner, who was a Silver Star recipient, began flying combat missions March of '67. And after being forced to eject over North Vietnam, he was captured and he was held as a prisoner of war for 6 years. After he left the active duty, he pursued an undergraduate degree. He earned both his bachelor's degree and Doctor of Law. Captain Warner retired in 2005 and remains an active member of the Marine Corps League AMVETS and the American Legion. So we all thank Captain Jim Warner, certainly for his tremendous sacrifice and service to our country. And Jim, I had a chance to meet the good captain before the game. What a nice gentleman.
Well, what a nice smile. Boy.
So Manny plays the hop, inspects the baseball, and Abreu's out, 1 away. So the Vietnam vets are being honored here tonight. And one of the things that Captain Warner said to me was, you know, we're finally getting recognized. And that is true. For the longest time, the Vietnam War was so unpopular that the veterans, all they were doing was serving their country, and for some reason they didn't get the recognition that they did deserve. Here's Todd Frazier, who was 0 for 2. 95 on the corner.
Well, that'll play. And I mean, Dave Wallace and Dom Cheedy, the Orioles' two pitching coaches, it's all about fastball command, and you know, you can establish down and away, and you can pitch off that changeup that misses up and in. It's kind of like when you're sailing and you get into a storm. It's a nice little safe cove you can go to, because you can't do too much on the low and away fastball.
That was nice.
Yes, well, that's the splitter. He throws two of them. The Laurie home run was on the straight change up, and the splitter change, it's just one go down. I mean, it's almost like you're playing in the driveway with a wiffle ball, where that ball moves.
Popped up. Davis charging in. Wieters didn't see it initially, but Davis has a play all the way. And two men down on the foul pop-up. So why not gather up your family and celebrate Mother's Day weekend at Oriole Park next weekend on Saturday when the Birds take on Oakland at 7:05. First 10,000 female fans 18 and over receive an Orioles canvas tote presented by MLB Network. And then on Mother's Day, the first 10,000 female fans 18 and over receive an Orioles Infinity scarf. Plus, after the game on Sunday, all the kids 14 and under can run the bases. For tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. There's Mom with her family. They're getting a week head start. Mom's all bundled up.
Mom's smart.
So is Cakes.
Okay. Rain wearer. Okay, important pitch here. We've seen the Orioles taking advantage of hitters' counts. The pitchers in the hole. Right on the corner. Now you know he's looking fastball. But again, when you have good stuff and your command is out of the middle of the plate, a lot of times good things can happen for you on the mound.
Gausman into the sixth inning here, Jim, and again we'll revisit. Here's the Orioles starters over the past 5 games. Kevin's allowed 3 runs, one of those though unearned. So the starters give you a chance with this team, with this hitting, and the Orioles are going to win a lot of games. Just outside.
Well, his pitch count is creeping up to exactly where it was when he pitched 5 innings down against Tampa.
What did him in Tampa, a 32 pitch 5th inning.
What did him in tonight was the sloppy defense by the O's. You know, that was what I think he threw 25 pitches that inning, somewhere in that number.
24.
24.
So here's another extended at bat. 7th pitch to Melky Cabrera with 2 outs and none on.
Well, you got the home run boy, Brett Laurie, on deck.
And a number, and it goes foul. Wieters tried to pounce on it, but it rolled right between Cabrera's legs into the batter's box.
Well, Melky hit 12 home runs last year. Real slow start in his first year with the White Sox. Came on, almost hit 290 the second half of the year.
And he popped him up. Scope will call. Back-to-back 3-up, 3-down innings for Kevin Gausman. Mid-6th at Camden Yards, 4-3 O's.
Take a look at our Geico highlights. Orioles trailing 3-1. Well, make it 3-2. Pedro Alvarez, first home run. Hanging breaking ball to left center. And then Schoop will tie it up. 3-3. Off of Latos. He's got the head shake going. A couple of hanging pitches. Orioles take advantage of. Wieters walks in the 5th. And then Alvarez with a double over the head of Austin Jackson. Matt Wieters all the way from first base. And the Orioles will take a 4-3 lead. That's Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. So Matt Latos trying to go 4-0. That will not happen. He's a pitcher of record only if they lose. So came in 24 and a third innings. Only 13 hits tonight. The Orioles get to him. Couple of home runs, and now Zach Putman comes on. Again, you can see no breaking ball because he throws fastball splitter. And the split changeup, 84 miles per hour. He throws it about 60% of the time, as you see. And the fastball, 89-90. He's done a nice job for him, not only this year, but in years past.
Well, the Chicago bullpen has the best ERA in the major leagues. 1.65, the Chicago relievers. Here's Jonathan Schoop. And a strike on the corner.
Yeah, you really kind of look for the split changeup, and it's a good one. And you hope that if you're going to hit it, he's going to have to make a mistake. When he throws it right, it goes down. And there it is, and it's like the ball just dive bombs. And there's another one. You know, he uses the splitter changeup like most guys use their fastball. You usually want to be somewhere, 58 to 65% with your fastball, maybe more. And it's just, again, a very effective, good arm speed, and then he can back it up 90-91. And there's the fastball, not even close. Pretty much just to set it up for another changeup, but except I can say that he's probably going to throw it, but if you're a hitter, you got to be able to somehow pick that up, and that's not easy to do.
Line, but right at the shortstop, Saladino.
Well, that's what they've been talking about, the fact that Jonathan has been hitting in tough luck. He threw a 2 for 30. That's gotten a little bit better. Got the home run earlier. But he does hit the ball hard, and a lot of times somebody's standing in the way, at least over the last maybe 7-8 games.
So here is Kim, who is 2 for 2. Just his second start in the last 15 games for the Orioles. He has doubled and singled. A lot of dip on that off-speed pitch.
Yeah. Well, he's a when you look at Zach Putman, he's a little bit like Koji Uehara, except he doesn't throw the riding fastball.
Oh. Left center field. Will it fall? Yes, it will. 3 for 3.
Well, what's your approach? And they're all celebrating, as they should. Well, he started out spring training, 0 for 24. Look at this. There's your splitter change. He just follows it. Looks a little bit like Ichiro, even though Ichiro was from Japan. Kim from Korea, but the approach was the same.
He's 7 for his last 9. And a 1-out single to turn the lineup over.
And he hasn't even gotten hot yet.
Strike on the inside corner.
So 2 batters and both balls hit hard.
Yeah, and a good take, 1-1.
Yeah, Kim not with a particularly big lead because he's more of a hitter than he is a guy that's going to take the extra base. Michael Givens, who came in and pitched so well all week, but Thursday night got the Orioles out of trouble with the bases loaded.
Dan Jennings, the lefty.
Yeah, we saw him on Thursday night.
And that gets away. And Kim will get the second. It bounced, so it'll be a wild pitch. So it gets a runner in the scoring position, plus it takes away the ground ball double play.
Yeah, the minute Navarro can't keep it way out in front of him and tries to do that, tries to get down, but it kicks off, and the minute it goes left, Kim goes right to second base.
And you see Carlos Torres, the umpire, immediately showing that Manny did not interfere in Navarro's attempt to get to that ball.
So a chance to add another run.
Popped up foul, and that'll be back in the crowd. See a look at our Maryland Live Casino inside the number. Total base leaders in Major League Baseball in single season since 1954 for the O's. Manny Machado already at 64.
Well, let's see. Cal in the Hall of Fame. Frank was the MVP in '66.
Not a bad list.
No.
Right field, slicing from Eaton. He gets there and runs it down and makes the catch and then stumbles.
What an outfielder.
Wow. What a play.
I mean, you can talk to all the broadcasters, their coaches, and they can say, boy, he's really played right field well for him. As you talked about earlier, Jeb, he was a center fielder last year. And then because it's maybe rained a little bit, or we've had our London mist here again, he goes down. At least on the grass. But that ball slicing away from him, he made it look routine. That's how well he's played. And then how about the arm? Talking about an accurate arm.
Well, he's got 5 assists already this year.
We've seen it even when he doesn't throw to a base, right to the cutoff man.
Adam Jones, 1 out of 3, singled and scored back in the first. And he swings through it. The Orioles are the only East Division team playing out of the division this weekend. And Tampa Bay just had an exciting walk-off win against Toronto. Curt Casali with a walk-off single. Casali had all 4 RBIs for Tampa Bay. Matt Albers has joined Jennings in the bullpen. And a strike on the corner.
Yeah, you're so aware of a hitter of that splitter change because it's 84 and it dives all over the place. And then he just dots the outside corner at 90.
Right field, he got a lot of it. Back it goes, back it goes. It is off the wall and in play. Kim will score. Jones hustling to second base. He slides in safely with a double. And it's 5-3 O's in the 6th.
So Kim, who's red hot, he gets on, goes to second on the wild pitch, and then Adam Jones finally does what he's been trying to do. As Putman tries to sneak a high fastball by him, not going to work. I mean, this ball is a rocket. And then he comes out of the box, and once again, Eaton makes a fabulous throw, plays the wall, gets it. Bang, bang, but the high throw just enough for Adam Jones to get into scoring position with an RBI double.
What a night for Kim. He's got 3 multi-hit games, now 4-game hitting streak. And he plays maybe once or twice a week. Davis will be walked intentionally with first base open and a right-hander on deck. This is the 3rd run that has been driven in with 2 outs in the inning by the Orioles. They had a 2-out home run from Scope in the 4th, the 2-out RBI double by Alvarez in the 5th, and now the 2-out RBI double by Jones in the 6th. And in the 5th inning against Latos, what Latos has to be frustrated with is he had 2 outs, nobody on, and then walked Wieters. And the throw to second base, and Jones goes to third.
So now, because of the splitter change, take a look right here, and Saladino not paying attention, almost gets him in the rib cage.
Navarro trying to catch Jones, just standing off the bag, but Saladino didn't know the ball was coming.
I'm not sure I thought he would. I mean, from that angle, it looks like he's just throwing it back to the pitcher. But you're right about Saladino not paying attention.
Well, it has to be a throwing error because Jones did move up. So E2 sends Jones to third. And here's Trumbo. Ball one inside.
Well, you have, I mean, this is such a formidable lineup that, you know, you got to take gambles, and that means you got to pitch around guys, intentionally walk people to maybe get a better matchup. But and a lot of times that'll work, just the nature of the game. 300 hitters make 7 out of 10 outs. But if you make a mistake,
ball two.
Trumbo is going to make this score 8-3 in a hurry, because that's his capabilities.
Long inning for Putnam. 6th batter he's facing. Orioles 13 hits now following that Jones double. Ooh, look out, Adam.
Yeah, you got to go somewhere, but the runner at third, you thought early on for spring training and before the DH, you've got to be in foul territory. Otherwise, you're out.
First and third, 2 down, a run in, 5-3 O's. Pop foul back this way. Get it, Jim. It's coming to you. Oh, just off the facade right in front of you.
Another
near
positive
miss
thing to happen.
Ballpark is electric at the moment. Orioles have come back from 3-1 down, now have a 5-3 lead. Two and two on Mark Trumbo. And he got him. Real good off-speed pitch, and Trumbo couldn't reach. But the O's had a run on the RBI hit by Jones through 6. 5-3 O's.
A 5-3 lead, a chance to win the first game for him in 2016, second start. So again, pretty good fastball, 3 strikeouts tonight. Control's good, down 3-1, but battled, and the Orioles came back. That is the pitching line, so you can see a lot of strikes again, as he did in Tampa Bay, and mixed up his pitches very well. Maybe a few more changeups and breaking balls down in Tampa. And the Jiffy Lube pitching change brought to you by Jiffy Lube, where participating stores now do brake services. Stop in and let Jiffy Lube inspect your brakes today. Michael Gibbons, not a bad guy to bring in. 9 scoreless appearances in a row. Came in on Thursday night. Ended up walking Abreu and then striking out Frazier. So glowing numbers. You know, more hits than innings pitched, but you know the walks are down this year and the strikeouts are up. Again, the one number that he's going to have to deal with is the left-handers. They've hit him very well at .571. That in the rain, a little bit of rain coming down. Well, now it's up to the bullpen.
Michael was the winning pitcher in the first game in this series on Thursday night, and he has been on some kind of a tear, Jim. Last 9 appearances, no earned runs, covering 9 in the 3rd innings. He has allowed 1 unearned run in that stretch. Ball on a strike on Lord.
The other night he got by, you know, maybe a little less velocity than we see. Sometimes he can be, you know, 94 to 96. Great pitches with his slider.
2-1. Our mist has intensified. Ground crew still doesn't seem concerned though. Just outside, 3-1.
Well, it's hard to pitch in the rain, hard to hit in the rain, because if it rains hard enough, water will come off the brim of your batting helmet, and then for a pitcher, it's the feel factor and also the fact you're trying to push off and land.
3-2 on the swing and a miss.
Well, 2-run lead, and when you get into these situations, for Michael Gibbons, you don't really know what's coming. He'll throw a slider in any count. And I think you have to throw what you think you can throw over, because you want Laurie, even though he's hit home runs in the last 2 games, to put the ball in play. And then he walked him. Didn't want to do that.
Nope, leadoff walk gets the tying run to the plate. Well, these bullpens, both these teams have been outstanding, Jim. Here's the lowest bullpen ERAs in all of Major League Baseball, not just the American League.
Well, there you go. And, you know, in the American League, obviously, you do play some interleague games, but that has the DH. The Nationals, of course, have great pitching. The Rays, they don't even have their closer, and they're still doing a great job. And the Mets are the Mets. There are the bullpens. But what we've seen Jerry Sands do, he got jammed and hit a soft liner into right for a hit, and then a really good at bat to right field. But the one thing Michael Gibbons maybe has a little more than Kevin Gausman, even though Gausman has a terrific arm, is deception. He's got such an unusual windup. Converted infielder who has zoomed his way to the big leagues.
Runner goes, pitch is swung on and missed. Wieters thrilled the tag. Schoop dropped it. Looked like he had a beat anyway. So a stolen base gets a runner in the scoring position.
Well, when Brett Laurie came up, we told you, you know, his first really major league team was Toronto, and he can do a lot of things. I think bang bang, if Jonathan could catch this is a perfect throw, and he's going to slide right into the glove, but Jonathan, yeah, I think he's out. Yeah, he would have been out easy, except Jonathan
hit the heel.
Yeah, it hit his heel of his glove. You catch it, drop the tag. Brett Laurie would have gone back to the bench. But if there's any question on Matt Wieters' arm, that's about as good a throw as you can make. But again tonight, the little butterfingers for the Orioles. And I don't mean the candy bar.
The defense has been so good. They had gone 5 games without an error and moved up to number 2 in team fielding before the 2-error 3rd inning.
So Gibbons will try to strike him out, and Sands, even though it's hard to do, will try to make contact to the right side of the field. Get Laurie into third base with less than 2 outs.
See, the Sox have struggled in the series. Runners in scoring position. And he gets him. Sands down on strikes, 1 away.
Great pitch. You know, good velocity, great location. Just off the outside corner at 94. So a little more velocity. Oh, nice pitch.
This is his 20th strikeout And he's now worked 11 2/3 innings.
Yeah, the amazing thing is the fact that he is coming in and giving him 13 hits. That's a little bit high for him because his stuff is so good.
Here's Navarro, the switch hitting catcher. And a strike right in there, off speed.
And Michael does have a third pitch. He does have a changeup. Michael Givens, and he doesn't use that very often because his slider is that good.
Converted in 2013 and called up to the big leagues last year for the first time. There's Dan Jennings again, the left-hander. And a bouncer foul right past Darryl Boston.
And he did a nice job of freezing Laurie because you know that if they do not hold him on, J.J. Hardy, the shortstop, kind of behind him. But he kept creeping off and he made him stop. It's not always easy to do. The good base runners, they can flinch. I remember you'd be in Kansas City, Amos Otis would be out there, and you come to the stretch position and you're going, oh, I don't want to flinch, it's a balk.
And he got him.
Well, there's the changeup, Jim. You know, the scouting reports that would not be in it because he doesn't throw very many, and it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. It's almost like a screwball. He just turns it over, and again, you're throwing 94. You think it might be a fastball, two-seam fastball, two-seam changeup. They look the same coming out of your hand.
Brian Mattis now getting loose. And the breaking ball right in there for a strike to Jackson.
Well, Adam Eaton's on deck, so Brian Mattis is getting up for him. We told you about the one number, and it was the lefties that hit Michael Givens well.
And it gets ahead of Austin Jackson, 0-2. Dave Wallace looking on. What's Caleb doing? He's enjoying the mist. Right field down the line. Long run for Trumbo. Long run. Sliding try. Can't get it, but it's foul. Well, fans, don't forget you can follow Orioles baseball live with MLB.com @bat app. You can stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download MLB.com @bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet.
Yeah, pretty critical here if he's able to get him out. You know, probably for defense, the Orioles will probably put in Rickard, make some defensive changes if they can maintain the lead.
Peel, he didn't go, says Jerry Davis. 1-2 on Jackson.
And you know, since lefties are 5 for 8 off of Givens, actually, excuse me, make that 8 for 14, that Mattis will be coming in to face Adam Eaton, who's waiting on deck.
Another foul ball. Austin Jackson's having a tough series, but I'll tell you, this guy knows how to prolong at bats. Last night he struck out 3 times. He was 0 for 4 Thursday, which included a 10-pitch at bat in the 5th inning against Tyler Wilson.
Well, he doesn't try to do too much, but he's always struck out. You know, he's got a little bit of a hole inside.
And a foul tip.
Yeah.
Wieters couldn't hold on.
Yeah, there's a good slider. You know, a lot of times you don't like to speed up a bat with a slider, but as long as you keep it out of the zone or right at the, maybe just at the knees or just a shade lower, it can be very effective. But if you hang it, Austin Jackson's bat will get a lot quicker. You don't want to be doing that. Yeah.
Check swing. Throw behind the runner at second. The tag is safe. Laurie just got the hand in.
Now, once again, if you don't think Matt Wieters can throw with the, and I'll tell you what, they're going to look in to see if there's any call. I mean, this is heads up right there. I mean, look at this play. He thinks he'll get it on the swing, and I don't know if he got the elbow or not. No,
I missed him.
Yep. That'll cut down your lead. One moment Matt Wieters is saying, boy, he swung on that pitch and it was very close, and the next thing you know, he's gunning one down to Hardy.
Yeah, and Jerry Davis denied the appeal on the swing, by the way, and Buck is not going to challenge this. Yeah, he's clearly back in there. So this would be the 8th pitch in this at bat. And he's worked it to 3-2.
Remember, the White Sox score 50% of their runs 7th inning on. So they're trying to do that right here. I mean, those are really good pitches. And Austin Jackson, he's just looking out over the plate. You know, he hopes he gets a mistake. If you get the ball up and in, you'll probably strike him out. And Michael's a little bit more effective away.
So here comes another 10-pitch at bat for Austin Jackson. Lined and base hit to right field. Laurie's being sent. Trumbo's up with it. Here comes the throw. He is safe at the plate with a feet-first slide. It's a one-run game. So the stolen base helps lead to a run as Laurie comes in on the 2-out single.
Yeah, finally gets a ball out over the plate, and Trumbo makes a nice play. I thought that Jackson was going to go because the throw was a little bit. But take a look. Yeah, he's across the plate, gets the helmet, knocks it off. And he gives him the lane. And then Carlos Torres right there to make the call.
Buck has asked the umpires to wait so they can look at it in the video room. So Brett Laurie's on the phone to his video room. I guess what they're wondering is, were the feet in the air and not on the plate physically?
Yeah, see, look at the right foot. Is it up in the air? Does it not touch it? Pretty close.
Yeah, that actually, that view there looked like he may have missed the plate.
Well, he eventually gets it, but the right foot, and he's going, no way. Well, there is a way. And why wouldn't you challenge it if you think you have any chance of having it reversed? And of course, if you're going full speed, which that's the way he plays. Now look at the right foot. It's not on the plate. Yeah, he's out.
He missed the plate.
I think he's out, and he's going to go crazy. Again, take a look. Throw is there. Now the heel goes up. It's not touching the plate one bit, and he's tagging him on the shoulder. And Matt, when he made the tag, immediately looked into the dugout and said, of course, he gets the shoulder and the helmet.
So if they have that same angle, this may be reversed and the run taken off the board and the inning would be over.
Boy, how many times over the last 2 years since they've gone to the replay have we seen that front leg actually go up in the air? Because otherwise, if you catch that front spike, see, not only goes up, but I don't think it ever touches the plate.
Yeah, the right foot never touched, and there's the tag.
And that left leg is not hit the plate.
In the air.
Yeah. Eventually, the left foot will slide across the corner of the plate, but I think Matt Wieters may have tagged him. Now again, you know, in New York, they'll look, is there enough discernible proof to overturn it? It gives you an idea of how difficult it is to umpire.
Right.
Because you can slow it down. You can speed it up. You can look at it 3, 4, 5 different ways. And that foot never touches the base. And now right there, the left foot slides across it. And with the naked eye, you go, there's no way that the throw beat him. But it wasn't that. It was the fact that he may never have touched the plate.
Here's the verdict. Safe is the call. And we're going to get a pitching change with the lefty Eaton coming up. Brian Mattis will be brought on here in the 7th.
So the leadoff walk, we'll see how that plays. It already scored.
So Givens will leave. Mattis coming on, protecting a 1-run lead in the 7th.
Come on, left-handed specialist. Of course, he had the kind of the lower back problems. He only has pitched twice, and he struggled with his command. He's pitched an inning, Kansas City and Tampa Bay, and you can see the walks. Hasn't struck anybody out. So again, righties hitting .500, lefties a little bit different story, and that's pretty much the story. He has, over the last few years, after he initially started out of San Diego State, #1 draft choice, he has kind of morphed into a left-handed specialist out of the bullpen. And of course, what does Eaton do? He's .357 against left-handers with 3 doubles and a triple.
So the tying run is on. Good speed with Jackson, and the pitch is low. Eaton has seen Mattis only once, but he has a base hit, 1 for 1. So the leadoff walk and the stolen base by Laurie, and a 2-out RBI single by Austin Jackson. Albers and Jennings are up again. There's a strike. And Austin Jackson, you really got to give him credit, Jim. He was down no balls and 2 strikes as Darren O'Day now begins to get loose, and worked a 10-pitch at bat for that RBI single. Ooh, good breaking ball there.
Yeah, bad one to get back in the count, 1-1, and then the good one down and away.
So he's ahead 1-2 with 2 men down.
And now you're going, where do I want to go?
Wherever Wieters sets up. Fouled it back.
Try to sneak a fastball by him. Yeah.
Wieters down and away.
And you know, if you watch Adam Eaton tonight or over the last couple of nights, I mean, he's just trying to hit the ball anywhere. You know, he's got some speed, as you mentioned, leading the American League in infield hits with 8. Wet field. Once again, just playing pepper.
We've been talking about the White Sox and how well they have done 7th inning on. How about Adam Eaton, Jim? His batting average from the 7th inning on is .429.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that last year he struck out 131 times. Obviously, I don't think the approach was the same, because he cuts his swing down. That's in 610 at bats last season. I mean, had a nice year for him. With 14 home runs, so maybe he was swinging a little bit harder, and because they didn't have a lot of power in their lineup. And that was by far, that was 11 more than he's ever hit in a year.
Ground ball to first. Davis down to his knees to get it. And will reverse and step on the bag, and Mattis gets the final out. Chicago gets a run. 7th inning stretch at Camden Yard. It's a 5-4 game. Like we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. We'll go back to the Oriole third. First and second, nobody down. Adam Jones, the bouncer to Frazier. He goes to second there for the second out after stepping on third. The White Sox challenged that Manny Machado interfered at second base, but it was denied. And then Robin Ventura argued with Jerry Davis and was ejected.
Well, why wouldn't he? It would have been a triple play of sorts. Let's see. He grabbed his ankle, slid by the bag, which, I mean, maybe we'll get an explanation, but that seems to me that's in violation twice of the rule that they imposed, and Robin didn't like it. I don't blame him. But then again, I thought Laurie was out at home plate. So what do I know? Dan Jennings will come on to pitch. We saw him the other night. Fastball slider. And then the one, as we mentioned, best bullpen in the American League. He's part of it. More hits than innings pitched. Hasn't walked anybody, but a very low earned run average.
So with Wieters coming up and then Pedro Alvarez behind him, the Sox go to Jennings, the lefty.
3 runs in his last 30 innings. That obviously goes back into last year, in 28 outings. So he's pitched very well.
So Matt will flip over to the right side. He drew a 2-out walk in the 5th inning against Matt Latos, and then scored on the double by Pedro Alvarez to center field. Outside, ball 1.
Yeah, not a real hard flamethrower. He was 90-91. He kind of jumps at you. Pretty good breaking ball. Scoreless inning on Thursday night against the Orioles.
Wieters has never faced him.
I came over from Miami, and there's the breaking ball. So Wieters scores after walking. Laurie scores after walking. Wow.
Good
what
cut.
A swing. Yeah, really good. Yeah, when you throw your fastball and somebody has this kind of swing, you better go to another location or another pitch. I mean, that is a swing that usually results in an extra base hit.
Jennings in his second season with the Sox. Matt a little bit out in front. Now he resides, even though he's from Berkeley, California, Northern California, in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. By you, right?
He's a neighbor.
Yeah.
Up the road a little bit. Palm Beach Gardens, and then you have Jupiter, where the ballparks. You know, actually, they're building the Nationals and the Astros are moving to West Palm Beach.
Yeah.
Their ballpark will be ready, I think, to leave next spring.
Yeah, next spring.
They're a little bit south of good slider.
So Wieters down on strikes, one away.
Yeah, so the first one he hits off the actually the signage before the club level here, and then one of those back foot sliders. That's like they like to throw it. Some of the great left-handers in the history of baseball have been able to do that. The illusion is it's going to stay up, and it just keeps coming.
There's Pedro Alvarez, who has a perfect night. A single, a home run, and an RBI double. 2 RBIs for Pedro. He had 1 RBI for the season coming in. Upstairs with a breaking ball. Alvarez has seen Jennings twice. He is 1 out of 2 against this left-hander. Tight game. O's have a 5-4 lead. They need 6 outs, which likely means O'Day and Britton.
Yeah, Matt Albers, who hasn't given up a run since, I don't know, last August. 30 straight appearances over, or actually 30 innings over 33 appearances. Unscathed, Jim. Well located fastball.
You mentioned it earlier. This has kind of been the reverse lock. You know, Kevin Gausman went against Chris Archer, who was 0-4, and Archer won that game by outpitching Kevin. And tonight, Matt Latos came in 4-0 with a 0.74 ERA as Pedro fouls it back, and the Orioles got him for 4 runs on 11 hits. So if Albers comes in, maybe your reverse lock theory of the evening will continue. Don Cooper, the pitching coach, looking on. The White Sox team ERA is 2.62. The Orioles scored 10 runs Thursday, 6 last night, 5 tonight. So 21 runs in 3 games. And he got him, came back to get him with a fastball on the inside. So back-to-back Ks and 2 men down.
It's 3 in a row for the White Sox pitchers. And again, up and in. Out over the plate. Pedro, a little different hitter. Most hitters are. Well, this is how you come back from games. We saw the Orioles do it last year. There's Rich Renteria, who's the bench coach, who's with Robin Ventura, tossed. He's the acting manager. And here comes Matt Albers.
So Jennings leaves. Albers comes on in the 7th. hope you can join us tomorrow for the series finale. Robaldo Jimenez will be on the mound against Chris Sale. Our coverage on MASN begins at 1 o'clock with those extra presented by Southwest, followed by game coverage at 1:30 on MASN and WJZ. We've got all the access you need right here on MASN. So a pitching change in the 7th, 2 outs, nobody on. Here's former Oriole Matt Albers.
Yeah, well, sinker 92, fastball, four-seamer almost 94, change-up, slider. How about those numbers? Hasn't given up a run since August 4th of last year, Tampa Bay. And again, doesn't matter, righty lefty. You would think there'd be more ground balls because you can sink him with the best of them. And again, he's on one of these runs, one of these incredible runs where 30 appearances, 30 innings pitched has the last time he gave up a run. And there's a sinker. If you're J.J. Hardy, you'd like to get one up a little bit. And of course, he wants to live at the kneecaps.
Well, Albers has been around so long. He was traded to the Orioles in the Miguel Tejada trade when Tejada went to the Astros. That was in December of 2007. He has bounced around, but he's found the home in Chicago. Second season with the White Sox. Good take, ball 2.
And another sinker.
JJ has the most head-to-head experience against Albers. Just 3 for 13 against him, but one of those 3 is a home run. Yep, Albers out of Houston was drafted by his hometown team and has had 2 tours through that organization. Hard hit ball right at Todd Frazier, and he catches it in the air for the final out. Blistering line drive, but right at Frazier. Those go 3 up, 3 down. We'll head to the 8th. 5-4 Baltimore. Yards. The Orioles hosted Vietnam Veterans Recognition Day, all part of the Birdland Community Hero program. And today's honoree, Captain Jim Warner, a Vietnam vet, former United States Marine Corps navigator. And Mr. Warner told us before the game that he is thrilled that Vietnam vets are finally being recognized, although he says they have been by Major League Baseball.
You know, when we got home, Bowie Kuhn, the commissioner of baseball, gave us all a lifetime free pass. But I live in Western Maryland, so it's a long way to drive. So I hardly ever have used it at a big league baseball game.
Well, he was forced to eject from his aircraft over North Vietnam in 1967. He was captured, and he spent 6 years as a prisoner of war. It was an honor to meet Captain Jim Warner, and glad to have all the Vietnam vets here at the ballpark tonight. Darren O'Day comes on for the 8th.
So Darren O'Day, I mean, he's been excellent. 10 appearances, yet to give up a run. fly ball pitcher, you can see 65%, and they will send up a pitch hitter. Carlos Sanchez. So they're looking for runs, and of course Sanchez can be a table setter with the heart of the lineup right behind him. Well, the one-run lead in the late innings will always cause anxiety.
That ball's ripped to the corner. Over to play it. Rickard is now in the game. Fires to second base, too late. And there's a leadoff double. So the tying run in scoring position with nobody down.
Now, I told you, I mean, they score 50% of their runs when it gets into the late innings, and then of course if they're behind, their bullpen has been so good it keeps them in the game. Nice throw by Rickard, but Sanchez in, and then see JJ trying to sustain the tag. It almost seems natural for Abreu not only to try to drive him in but hit the ball the right side, because he's been doing it the whole series.
And Abreu takes a strike. Abreu lined out to first, bounced into a double play, and bounced out to third. You see 1 for 4 head-to-head against Darren.
Yeah, Darren O'Day will top out at about 86 miles per hour. Maybe every once in a while he'll four-seam it a little bit higher. And he came in with 14 strikeouts in 8 2/3 innings because of the deception and the fact he has such a good slider. There's a sinker. Yeah. And you're thinking, okay, if I can't strike him out, what can I do to get him to hit it to the left side so you don't advance the runner? And then you got Abreu, who got 2 hits to right field last night, hit a line drive the first time to Chris Davis right on the nose, who just seems like he has the ability to inside out the ball with the best of them.
And fouled out of play, so Abreu falls behind 1 and 2.
Now there's the four-seamer. Yeah, that second hit he got last night on the 0-2 pitch, and it was really above the lettering in the Chicago, and he got on top of it and almost hit it off the trademark of the bat, but the swing was incredibly level for a ball that high.
Hardy's trying to keep Sanchez close. Doesn't chase. 2 and 2.
It tells you how difficult it is to hit Darren O'Day. I mean, normally with 2 strikes, the league average was 176 last year. I looked a couple of days ago, it's a little bit under 170 this year. So for Darren, it's even tougher at 125. Missed again. Now you got to always keep in mind, and I know it's tough for relievers, but I always thought as a starting pitcher, you never want to give up the go-ahead run. When you come in and your pride says, well, not only do I want to keep the game where it is, and then you give up a leadoff double, and the last thing you want to do with Frazier on deck is end up having a couple of runners on, because all of a sudden you're looking at go-ahead runners for the White Sox.
Well, 3 and 2 on Abreu. Line to right field. That's a base hit. Rickard over to field. Sanchez being sent. He will score easily, and we are tied.
Yeah, it's almost like he waited, and he got the count. He got to see, 5 pitches. Waited to do what he's been doing the last couple of nights, which is just hit the ball to right field. So Sanchez, clutch pinch hit double, and then watch this approach. I mean, it's off the plate. You don't get too many home run hitters. I mean, 30 last year, 36 his first year coming out of Cuba. Lifetime 300 hitter. Pretty rare breed. And Rickard makes a nice play to keep him at first.
Just 4th hit to right field in this series for Abreu.
It's like cruise control. Just push a button and he can hit the ball the other way.
Still nobody out. So 2 batters O'Day has faced, and the lead is evaporating. And a strike on the corner.
I tell you, Carlos Torres, he missed a couple of plays on the bases last night, but he's called a very consistent game behind the plate.
A ball and a strike on Frazier, who has seen O'Day only twice. He's 0 for 2 against him. Barely got a piece of that, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, I think he thought he could do a little bit more with it. You know, he's incredibly strong because the home run he hit his first time up against Tyler Wilson on Thursday was a curveball that, you know, it wasn't a horrible curveball. It was outside third of the plate, and he hit it in the left field seats like it was down the middle. And that's how you hit 35 home runs, as he did last year in Cincinnati, 29 the years before. Didn't he win the home run hitting contest one year too?
High fly ball to center. That chases Adam Jones. That ball is tagged. That ball is back. And that ball is gone. And the White Sox have a 7-5 lead. 3 runs off Darren O'Day.
Well, they didn't have him last year, so you're last in home runs, last in runs in the American League, and boy, everything changes. You got somebody to protect Abreu, and when Abreu gets on, he hits a home run, and this is what the White Sox have been about. He runs back in the middle of the plate and big time power. He just hits a fly ball that ends up going about 420 feet.
So Chicago with a run in the 7th, 3 here in the 8th. Still nobody out. Home run number 7 for Frazier. And now the Orioles trail by 2. Melky Cabrera now pops it up, foul. Manny is over, but he runs out of room. Vince Worley now getting loose.
Yeah, I think the one thing with Darren O'Day, you just don't want the pitch count to get out of hand. Orioles with a scheduled off day on Monday.
Darren worked an inning last night. Threw 14 pitches to get through that inning. This will be the 14th pitch here. Called strike. 0-2 on Cabrera, who's 0 for 3 on the night. So Todd Frazier got a pitch he could extend the arms, and he didn't miss it. Bounce to first. Davis on a knee gets it, and gets his man, and 1 away here in the 8th. This copyrighted telecast is presented by Authority of the Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Oriole Bird greeting all the Vietnam veterans before the game. For the White Sox, with the surges late in games, they have scored 4 runs in the last 2 innings. Here's Brett Lawrie. Pop foul, back out of play.
Yeah, they thought last year they get Dave Robertson and they get Melky Cabrera. He, ends up having a pretty decent year, much better the second half. They get Adam LaRoche, big disappointment, and then he chose not to come back because of family issues. His son a regular in the locker room, and that wasn't going to be allowed as much. And then they get Frazier. I mean, Buck Showalter, Oriole manager, talking about it. I mean, he's a player. So it just looks to me, and then they get off to a good start, something they didn't do last year. So this is his 5th. He came in with 4 years and 71 days, Jim, so he won't be a free agent until after the 2017 year. He's a good sinker.
So the Oriole bullpen has allowed 4 runs in this game. Very uncharacteristic. 2 errors by the O's. Very uncharacteristic. Strike 3 call.
Yeah, got him. Perfect pitch. And then Carlos Torres, relatively a newcomer as an umpire, he calls it. Nicely presented by Matt Wieters. Let's take a look. Yep, inside right on the corner. The high home does not lie. No angle perception.
Here's Jerry Sands DHing tonight. He's had a good night. A couple of singles and a run scored. Can't reach the slider. 0-1. O'Day has never faced Sands. Bucks Birds now trail by 2. Pedro Alvarez has had a good game. And the short. J.J. Harder will get Sands, and that ends the inning, but the damage is done. RBI single by Abreu and a 2-run home run by Todd Frazier. Birds come to bat in the 8th, down by 2. In a brand new game, Chicago with 3 runs in the 8th. Now is a 7-5 lead, and welcome into the booth, Jim and Jim. And a very uncharacteristic night. The Orioles get a lead in the 7th. Michael Givens gives up a run. Darren O'Day comes on, very reliable all year, and all of a sudden a 3-spot.
Well, he hadn't been scored on in 10 straight starts. You know, Alvarez gets to play. You know, he has a big night. Kevin Gausman looked like he might have a chance to win because he pitched pretty well, went 6 innings, and they got him runs, but they didn't play very well defensively behind him. But again, the White Sox, pretty good ball club. They came in 6 in a row. Big game for them because they have their ace tomorrow. I mean, the real ace, the 274 strikeouts. Chris Sale, he's 5-0. So they just wanted to, again, if you're down, you know, 4-game series, you lose the first 2, you're thinking, okay, the only way we're going to salvage a split is if we win tonight. But as we've seen, even though Alvarez hasn't given up a run since last August, this game is far over. The Orioles, you know, they still have 6 outs to work with.
And down and away.
And you never know. I mean, Matt comes in and
Carlos Sanchez at shortstop now.
Yeah, after the pinch hit double, but he comes in and J.J. Hardy almost kills Frazier with a line drive. So maybe it is time for him to break the skein of 33 innings.
Check swing. He did not go, says Jerry Davis.
And then the lefty Zach Duke. So the Orioles will take base runners any way they can get them. Duke again part of this #1 bullpen in the American League. There's ball 3. Boy, what a run to go that long since the 4th of August without giving a run. It's not like he hasn't been in games. It's his 31st appearance.
Three and 2 on the foul ball.
Yeah, you mentioned when they got him with the Houston, he actually we started to cut 3 games for the Orioles, but he was a starting pitcher down there. He's got 3 pitches. He's got the slider, fastball, and a changeup. The Orioles pretty much just get a guy on, get the tying run to the plate.
And he walked him. There's a leadoff walk. Very patient at bat for Jonathan Schoop. That is only the 4th time he has walked all year.
Yeah, one of those, where he gets behind him, he tries to get back in the count, and you're right about the patience. And Don Cooper will mutter to himself, the White Sox pitching coach, because everybody that knows baseball knows that Matt Albers doesn't want to walk the first batter with a 2-run lead. It's kind of like when you do that, you just enhance the opportunity of taking the big eraser out, which is what your offense just got for you. It opens up holes. They're going to hold the runner on. You'd like to have your first baseman play in the hole. Worley, and then the closer Zach Britton.
So if the Orioles tie this game or get the lead, you'll see Zach. If not, you'll see Worley. Here's Kim, who's 3 for 3. Double play ball. Laurie, Sanchez, back to Abreu. Double play.
Yeah, tonight they turn it. Last night the ball took about a bad hop, but it just looked like Brett Laurie was in a hurry to turn it. That was the Wieters ground ball. They booted it. The Orioles turned it into a couple of runs, and this time pretty routine. There's their sinker. One thing about pitching down in the zone, and this is what Matt Albers does well when he's on his game, and obviously he's on his game with 30 consecutive scoreless appearances, is that he can sink the ball, and you can get 2 outs with 1 pitch.
It's a pretty animated team, this White Sox team. They celebrate all over the place.
They're winning. Well, you've won twice as many as you've lost, 16 and 8.
Win tonight, they'll set a franchise record for 17 wins in April. Bounce to third. That is a fair ball. Long throw for Frazier, and safe at first as Machado. Abreu couldn't hold it. So again, the tying run comes up.
That ought to be an error. Boy, Frazier can pick it. We already saw the home run. He gets to this quickly. Quick release. And then all Abreu has to do is catch it. But it looked like, maybe the ball cuts a little bit, but boy, that's a catchable ball. Of course, he got one of the big hits. But it's certainly not a base hit.
No, they gave him a hit. Wow.
Well, Manny will take it, but how do you give somebody a hit on
ball that was
a
dropped?
Drop ball? But doesn't really matter. All you're doing is looking for runners, and you got him. Had him with that big double and a single. Double scored a run off the top of the wall down the right field line. Yeah,
Albers drills Adam Jones.
Well, that's why they had Zach Duke up. Just in case things happen. Running fastball, didn't try to do it with a 2-run lead, but he hits him, and He doesn't even bother Adam. Or at least he's not going to let you know. Right in the rear end.
By the way, the scorer thought better of it, and he has just changed that to an E3.
Well, there was an uprising in the in the press level. But they're probably going to match up. Very surprised that they didn't. Oh no, actually Nate Jones, the hard throwing righty. So here comes Duke to match up with Chris Davis.
So Albers leaves, 2 on. Go ahead run comes to the plate in the 8th. Masson is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The light rain continues to fall, but has not impeded the play. And here's Zach Duke.
Yeah, fastball. It's going to be somewhere around 90. He's got a slider, he's got a curveball, he's got a changeup. Former starting pitcher with Pittsburgh early in his career, and he's kind of morphed into a left-handed specialist. He's faced 33 batters, and 21 of them have been lefty. They're 5 for 21. You have to have an extra base hit or a home run. So he comes in. You can see he's a ground ball specialist, and gets who he gets to face. Last year's home run champ.
So both inherited runners have scored on the year, and he's got 2 on.
Well, if one scores now, that scoreless scheme for Matt Albers will end, and the Orioles will get another runner, 2 or 3.
Borderline call.
Yeah, the low strike.
Chris has seen Duke twice, 1 for 2, and the 1 is a homer.
Well, that's what Chris Davis brings to the plate. Certainly an attentive Oriole bench. Yeah, just, you know, again, it's not about velocity. I mean, it's about location for Zach Duke, and that was kind of a perfect pitch up and in. And one of these guys, it's kind of over on the first base side of the pitching rubber, so he's stepping at you if you're left-handed.
Gets ahead 0-2.
And then he drops down, and we have seen in the past, and on his way to 47 home runs, we have seen Chris Davis where if you're lefty, if you make a mistake and you get too much of the plate with 2 strikes, he's hit home runs with 1 hand.
There's a lot of room in right center. If he splits the gap, this game could be tied. Jones getting a big lead. Good take, 2-2. Outfield very deep.
You know, and again, you either try to get Chris way away, or you try to ride the ball up and in like you did early. If you make a mistake, and you can see Navarro, we'll see if they're just see kind of where he's going to shift, where they're going to try to get him out, and they're going in.
Rolls over it towards first, and fortunately it goes foul. So he'll get another crack at it.
I remember when Mike Flanagan, he morphed from a Cy Young Award winner as a starter to the late Mike Flanagan to a late inning reliever. He said the good left-handed hitters, and back then it was Mattingly and Mo Vaughn and people like that, they all cover the outside corner. So the two-seamer, which is what Duke throws, can be pretty effective because you throw it down and in, and just if you get it down and in, and it's hard to get to. And then, of course, we know he's got that big sweeping breaking ball.
Sixth pitch in the at-bat. Line drive towards left center field. That's down for a base hit. Here's Manning to score. Jones is being sent. Here comes the relay throw towards the plate. It is up the line, and we are tied. Davis comes through. What an at-bat for Chris Davis to get this game back even.
So the Albert streak ends. The Orioles wipe out a two-run deficit on a clutch double by Chris Davis.
What an at-bat.
So remember, 21 out of 33 batters, lefties. There's a good fastball. Tries to get him to swing at a sweeping breaking ball. Another one. There's the sinker. And there's the one in the middle of the plate, and it drilled to left center field. Take a look from this perspective. They're even playing over there, but he hits it so hard. And then Sanchez is going to get it. Watch him pull the relay just a little bit. It's up the line. And Adam Jones able to slide in to tie it.
So the error kept the inning alive. The hit batsman, and Chris Davis comes through. We are back even at the yard.
With the go-ahead run, Chris Davis down at second. Hard throwing righty coming off Tommy John surgery, so didn't pitch much a whole last year. A couple of pitches. And again, you can get it in the mid-90s, 96 average fastball. Almost a strikeout per inning. Lefties hitting at 154, and you can see how tough he is on right-handers.
Well, Chris Davis delivers a two-run double to get this game even. Here's Joey Rickard, his first at-bat. He's in Mark Trumbo's spot. He came on for defense. And now the Orioles lineup has batted around to Mark's spot. Mark was 1 for 4 with an RBI single. So 3 of 4 inherited runners have scored. And he fouls it back. Well, batting average in home ballparks coming into today's game, 2 Orioles right at the top.
Well, Joey Rickard had started every game until today that the Orioles have played this year. So when you could see Jones, a little bit late on the fastball, and why not? 96. He's got a slider and a curveball, or kind of somewhere in between. And you're hitting off the fastball. If he throws a breaking ball, you hope he hangs it. Nope, 97. Yeah, they missed him last year. Was to get Adam Eaton. They had what they had traded Addison Reed, who was one of their better bullpenners. Matt Albers. There's a breaking ball. And again, when a guy's late on your fastball and you throw a breaking ball, it better be out of the strike zone, or otherwise you're doing him a favor. Because Joey Rickard's going to be hitting off 96 and trying to catch up.
Time requested by the catcher Navarro.
It's a wet night. This guy can run. So no routine slow hit ball is routine. He's got 5 infield hits.
Boy, is he battling here. He hasn't really squared one up yet, but Jones can't get it by him.
He's doing an Adam Eaton, but a right-handed version.
Mark Trumbo's hanging out with the pitchers. One and two on Rickard. 2-2.
Yeah, he really looks like he's reading the breaking ball, and Navarro might sense that. I mean, he didn't even flinch. Look at the look how many trips. If you look out between home plate because of the wetness, there's a. I mean, look at
trail of dirt.
Yeah, trail of dirt from all the catchers going out and talking to the pitchers tonight. And this is an impeccable field, except where the umpire stood around the other night and left a couple of footprints out there. Nicole, the groundskeeper here, wasn't real happy. Of course, she worked at a guy. It was like divots out there from, I think it was actually Carlos Torres.
High fly ball to right. That's playable for Eaton. And the inning will end. But Chris Davis comes through a 2-out, 2-run double off of Zach Duke. That gets this game back even. We will head to the ninth in a 7-7 game.
Zach Britton, who finished last night, came in, and Garcia, watch this play. Only one play. Catch it and dive. And the tag, it turned out Avisail Garcia would strain his hamstring, so he didn't play tonight. Britton would eventually get up with a smile on his face. Diving tag. So a sinker ball pitcher with occasional slider, and it can be a good one, but he throws the ground ball. He is the closer. And conventional baseball, basically you bring your best pitcher in a tie ball game to pitch the ninth inning and hope he gets him out, and then you get the bat in the bottom of the ninth. Home field advantage.
With 3 home run threats due up in the bottom of the ninth. Here's Navarro. And that's fouled out of play. Navarro 1 out of 3. He singled in the 2-run third inning, the 2-error inning by the Orioles. Can't reach the sinker. 0-2.
Not too many people can. And bottom drops out in the mid-90s.
0 for 3 against Zach. One of those a K. And he got him. 1 away.
Well, big league ball, when you can get ahead and you have overwhelming stuff, you can pitch out of the strike zone. And the illusion for the owner Navarro is this ball is going to be close to the strike zone. It just keeps running down and away, and he swings right through.
Here's Austin Jackson. A real good at bat in the 7th inning. Fell behind 0-2 on Michael Givens, and then eventually worked a 10-pitch at bat and an RBI single to right.
Yeah, and Michael again, it's not like he made a horrible pitch. It was a leadoff walk. It's the only thing I'm sure that's disappointed for him. And there's another sinker. Really doesn't get a whole lot better than this. And Zach Britton, I think it's only my opinion, but I'll certainly have no problem saying it, is about as good as any other closer in baseball because of the sinker.
Well, visit MASNsports.com/CareFirst to vote for tonight's CareFirst Fearless Player of the Game. Live fearless with the name trusted for over 75 years. CareFirst Blue Cross Blue Shield. Well, Chris Davis, a 2-run double to tie the game. He'll get a lot of votes. Hyun-Soo Kim has 3 hits. Pedro Alvarez has 3 hits and a couple of RBIs and a home run. So a lot of candidates here tonight. Pedro will have an at bat in the bottom of the 9th. How about a walk-off? Just came back to the bench. He must have been up in the tunnel in the batting cage. Keeping loose. 0-2 on Jackson. Strike 3 call. Kind of tied up, didn't know what to do, and he let it go by for strike 3.
Well, he thought it might be high, but it still sinks. I mean, this is, Zach didn't only got, 5 pitches in Kansas City, so he left some balls up against Tampa Bay, even though he did get the save. And I think Austin was hoping that would be out of the zone, and it wasn't.
So here is the pesky Adam Eaton. And a drag bunt attempt, and a good one. And he's going to reach, and it gets beyond him. Eaton thought about going to second, now scampers back to first, so that'll be a bunt single.
Perfectly placed bunt, the drag bunt. The one where Mickey Mantle, who hit 500 and what home runs, used to get down to first base in 3.3 seconds. And Zach makes a nice play. I mean, as far as getting to the ball, and I wonder if he hurt himself, though. Watch him come up limping. Yeah, lost his balance and then limping. That's not good news.
Yeah, he really is favoring it.
Well, you favor your legs, and that's how a lot of pitchers have gotten injured. Now, you're hoping it's a cramp, but it also could be a pull or an ankle. So take a look again. I mean, marvelous play to get to it. And then does he roll his ankle? It didn't appear to. It might just be more of a hamstring issue. Oh, this is
gingerly walking off.
Well, you're hoping it's not an Achilles too. I mean, there's just so many ways you can hurt yourself. And perfect bunt. And your competitive nature is going to make you go get it, which he does.
Well, Vance Worley's going to come on. He was getting loose last inning. So Worley comes on. 7-7 game. Go ahead run at first with 2 down. Worley trying to get this game to the bottom of the 9th. Still tied.
In Dallas, a veteran pitcher from last year with the Pirates, also AAA Indianapolis. The year before, 17 starts out of 18 appearances. Again, pitches to contact, makes the ball move. They've encouraged him, if you look at his numbers, 50-50 as far as ground ball and fly ball. So they've encouraged him to use the curveball, which again is something he doesn't use a whole lot. One of the 3 inherited runners has scored.
But the news here, the closer limping to the trainer's room, and that did not look good.
Well, you got to hope for the best, and I certainly would concur with your opinion of that. Anytime you look like it's either ankle, Achilles, or whatever. And so here's the culprit. He led off the 8th inning with a double off of Darren O'Day, and then he would eventually get the tying run. They would put 3 on the board, though.
Adam Eaton, good speed at first. He has 3 steals. Worley keeping him close.
Yeah, we'll see. Vance Worley, it at least appears to me pretty quick to the plate. Kind of, they describe it, Royal pitching coaches, Dom Chidi, that he kind of pole vaults over his front side. So, but again, by doing that, if you quicken up your windup, sometimes it's harder to throw strikes, and that's what speed does. And Eaton has it down at first.
Sanchez, a switch hitter. And a good cut there, and he fouled it back. See Wayne Kirby directing the outfielders.
And they're trying to read that swing.
Throw behind the runner, and Eaton just gets back.
Yeah, it's not like Sanchez doesn't have a little pop. I mean, average-wise, in his first year in the big leagues, which was of any, and there's again Matt Wieters very active throwing tonight. He did hit 23 doubles and 5 home runs and a triple, so a little bit of extra base power. And I think Wayne Kirby, who first base coach directs the outfielders, saw where the bat head was and said maybe he might pull the ball. But the one thing about Vance Worley, he's going to throw 89 or 90. It's about moving and cutting it and sinking it, and we mentioned, Eaton with 18 steals last year. So even though it's a wet field, or at least the base paths are wet.
Now back the other way. Well, there's not been a stolen base attempt against Worley. Wieters is 50% with the 1 steal in this game. He has caught 2 have made it. Well, in fairness to Matt, when Laurie stole in the 7th, if Jonathan hangs on to the ball, he's out. The throw is perfect.
Yeah, to control the running game, obviously, you want to get the catcher the ball, but you also want to make the runner not get a running lead. Make him stop. And you can throw over. You can hold it a little bit longer. There's the throw over. Or if you get in a rhythm where they can time you, they can. Remember Brian Roberts? All those years
he's
where
good
you
at
just
it.
get that running lead and kind of a bouncing lead, and that's Brady Anderson certainly. There's a quick
bluff's going,
and that's a strike. But see, this is one of the problems when you come up in front of the umpire. You do not get the call. That ball was right down the middle. Watch him come up.
Wow.
Where's that pitch? I mean, it's pretty much right down the middle, and otherwise that's strike 3. Inning's over.
And he's running now on 3-2. And he walked him. Wow. So
well, the wow factor is it brings Abreu, arguably their best hitter over the last 2 years, with the 30 home runs. He had 290 last year. Did well over 300 with 36 home runs the year before, and we've seen him pretty much at will. He can hit the ball the other way.
Wieters is talking it over with Torres, but it's a pitch too late. So Eaton with good speed, the potential tie-breaking run at second. And Worley comes right at him. And you see the hits by direction, and he has shown that in this series. Four hits to right field in this series. Make it 5. Eaton's being sent. Rickard double pump. Here's the throw, not in time. Sox have the lead.
Yeah, just could not get it out of his glove. A little bit of cutter. Eaton started it all with a bunt base hit. See right there, he just could not find the handle on it, and then Eaton runs too well, 2 outs. He's going on contact, and it might have been bang bang if he comes up with it right away. Just couldn't do it. So this coming up and blocking the umpire really pays. It just looked like he missed it because he couldn't really see it.
Here's a look at our Lexus 1000 drive of the game, and it was Todd Frazier against Darren O'Day in the 8th. That 2-run home run at the time gave the Sox a 7-5 lead. The drive of the game brought to you by Lexus 1000, the area's #1 luxury dealer. Come see why at lexus1000.com. Well, what a shame. Worley threw a strike. Would have been strike 3. And because of the speed factor and Wieters having to respect the runner who bluffed, the umpire missed the call.
But at the end of the day, anytime you walk Sanchez to get to Abreu, you're really asking for trouble. Now that had something to do with it. You can't do much about the Adam Eaton bunting for a base hit because it was a perfect bunt. But it kind of tells you about the White Sox. You mentioned they do celebrate everything, but they're scrappy. I thought Todd Frazier at the plate said it best. He said when you're playing well, you need, because it doesn't always go this way. You always have to, get as big a cushion as you can. And
Worley appears upset. 4 in a row out of the strike zone. Here's Dave Wallace out for a chat.
Well, he could be upset just with himself because You know, you can't undo what happened, and you know he's been around long enough to know that. I like him. He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He's been around. Yeah, I think he's probably frustrated that he ended up walking Sanchez, and then Abreu just had a great at bat. I mean, now you got yourself in big time trouble. And at the end of the day, you're only down by 1. So if you can get out of this inning, the Orioles will still think they have a chance to win.
And this all started with 2 outs and nobody on the drag bunt single by Eaton, which also forced Britton out of the game with an injury. So here's Melky Cabrera. 0-1 on the foul ball.
Well, think if you're Adam Eaton, do you want to hit Britton? No. And not only did he bunt, it was the perfect bunt. And not only it just ignited an inning, as it turned out.
Look out in the Chicago dugout.
Well, they put on the screens, and there you go.
I think he went to the ground. And a ground ball to Scope. He'll get it to first, and the inning ends. Sox get the lead to break the tie. We will head to the bottom of the ninth. Those come to bat, down by a run.
Stay tuned for O's Extra Post Game. Rick, how about the White Sox? 5 runs over the last 3 innings.
I know they keep coming back. They had the lead 3-1. Orioles came back, took the lead. Then the White Sox came back and took the lead. The Orioles, it's been a seesaw battle this whole way. Maybe Zach Britton got hurt and he was out of this game.
A lot to talk about when we come back with O's Extra Post Game. Let's go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Orioles trailing by a run. Let's go back up to Jim.
All right, Tom and Rick, thanks so much. So the Orioles need a run to get back even. Wieters will lead off, then Alvarez, and then Hardy. So you have 3 potential home run threats. And that certainly is due. 1 home run on the year, and it was on April 19th.
No, it all starts getting a guy on, and then got to do what the White Sox did. If you can. Of course, Nate Jones will try to have something to do it. Trying to look to see. Yeah, so Nate Jones, I was looking to see if he had a save. He did get one this year. Never.
Gets ahead of Wieters 0-1. And for Jones, this would be a win. He was the pitcher on the mound that ended the 8th when he got Rickard to fly out. He prevented that add-on run with Davis at second. Right field. Eaton is there, back on it, reaches up, makes the catch. He misjudged it and still got it. Wow, that ball was smoked.
Well, you can see where he's playing, and then he goes right back right there, kind of a stutter step, and then acrobatic catch. Can't imagine what he's saying right there. Uh-oh. No, it might be worse than that. If you've ever been down on the field, but tumbling grab.
Pedro Alvarez had a good night, 3 for 4. First Oriole home run. And then you see the shift on against him.
Yeah, guys throwing 96 to 97, they still shift. Yeah, Nate Jones starter. I mean, you know, 2010, he's 28 starts.
Left field. Cabrera was deep, but he's going to get there. Orioles down to their final out.
Yeah, they were in the protect mode as far as doubles. You know, keep the ball in front of you, and but Melky able to get a good jump and easily get to it.
The O's don't get even here. This is going to be a disappointing loss.
Yeah, good movement in 96.
We're 1-1 on Hardy, who is 0 for 4. And has gone 57 at-bats without a home run. Jones hits ahead 1 and 2.
Yeah, to me, that's when you watch him swing compared to last year, that's just happenstance. You know, the fact, I mean, obviously they know, you know, inside middle. I mean, maybe not the power pitchers like Jones, who figures his fastball will still win, but they're trying to pitch him away, and I just think he's swinging the bat so much better. And it seems like you know, like the line drive he hit his last out was 104 miles per hour. The average ball in Major League Baseball is 77, but it was right at the third baseman. So home runs will come. Certainly driving the ball.
Two and 2. Jones is the 6th pitcher used by Chicago. The Orioles have also used 6.
Well, there's
just got a piece. Wow.
Well, that's the first breaking ball that he's thrown for a strike, and it was a really good one. And all the other ones have kind of show me, but this one just off the outside corner. That's the stay alive hack. And that's what it allows him to do.
This will be the 7th pitch in this at bat. Strike 3 called, and the ball game is over. So the White Sox score 5 runs in their final 3 at bats, and they pull it out 8-7.
Well, you take a look right here. I mean, this ball is probably outside. It's brought into the strike zone by Navarro, and you know, sometimes you get the break, but that ball was off the plate a little bit, and that ends it.
So the White Sox come back and win it. Final score at Camden Yards: Chicago 8, Baltimore 7. And we invite you to join us tomorrow for more O's action, the series finale, as Ubaldo Jimenez will go to the mound against Chris Sale. Our coverage on MASN begins at 1 o'clock with O's Extra presented by Southwest, and then game coverage at 1:30 on MASN and WJZ. And now for Jim Palmer and our entire hardworking crew, Jim Hunter saying so long from Camden Yards, where our final score, White Sox win it, Chicago 8, Baltimore 7. Tonight's telecast, the MASN presentation, Tom and Rick, O's Extra comes your way right now.